Shalom to everybody out there. It's me, your girl Neftali. How are you all doing? Let me check the chat. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. All right, shalom, shalom. Let's get things started.
Now, you got a lot of the wide-nosed, big-lipped Negroes who are upset about the Mexicans.
You see that? What happened in 70 AD? When did the Jews get kicked out of Israel?
I don't know.
You don't know, but you're calling yourself a Jew?
You are not a Jew either.
You're calling yourself a Jew. What does the word Jew mean?
A Jew. Those are the chosen ones.
What does the word Jew mean? You're not a Jew. You're a joke.
Right.
You're a joke. You know what? You're Jewish. We're Hebrew Israelites.
Correct.
The white people came and shot you stinking Africans up with AIDS, and you still love the white man. Read!
I'm from a kingdom, man. I'm from a kingdom.
What kingdom you from? Zimbabwe? You from Zimbabwe?
My kingdom is
You're
there.
from Zimbabwe.
My
That's where
kingdom
you're
is
from.
there.
You're a Hamite. Go ahead.
It's from Zamunda.
30 verse 30.
Let's see what color the Israelites are. Go ahead.
My skin is black
His
upon
skin,
me.
his skin is what?
My skin is black upon me.
Read it again.
My skin is black upon me.
See that? You aren't a Jew. You're a joke.
That's right.
Right? You're
Are you
a
circumcised?
Canaanite.
Are you circumcised?
That's what you are. You're a Canaanite.
Excuse me, are you
The
circumcised?
book of Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black, but comely.
I am what?
I am black, but comely.
Read.
O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
And this is an Israelite woman. So we showed you an Israelite man, Job is black. Then we showed you an Israelite woman being black. Various shades of brown, because really nobody's black. I mean, you're close to it. You Hamites.
I'm dark, man.
close
Call
to
me
it.
anything you want to call me.
You Hamites are close to it.
All right, did you guys hear that? You Hamites are close to it, right? This video is going to be about who truly are the Hamites. We're going to look into really in depth into this whole Hamite thing. You know what I'm saying? We have these xenophobic maniacs. That's what we're going to call them, xenophobic maniacs, because they hate on the Africans, right? The so-called crispy black Africans. And let's get ready to play this clip really quick, right? Let me showcase this for you. All right, let's go ahead.
Because you know, I quite frankly, a few people were sending me his videos, such as Arthurus, Where Africa or America. He's still he's doubling down. His whole thing though, honestly, is about phenotype. He like, okay, well, Latinos and Native Americans, they don't look like us, so how could they be Israel? Just really carnal, you know what I mean? I mean, all I see is Negro this, Negro that, pictures of Negroes. He's a light-skinned individual, so I don't know why he's always pulling up these black crispy Africans.
Now I want to pause right there. Did you guys hear that? He said he's a light-skinned individual. I don't know why he's pulling up these black crispy Africans. The thing is that what qualifies you to be a Hamite apparently is to be black and crispy. But let's just keep going.
Saying they're Israelites as if he looks like them or something. But
as if he looks like them or something. Wow, guys. And I'm just getting started. I have a whole presentation debunking these people. But right now we're just going to have a little fun.
For majority of the time, he was questioning us about phenotypes and looks. Why does one look like this? Why does one look like that? Again, the most important piece of evidence that we have to prove who's Israel is prophecy. The curses are a part of prophecy. He looked like he could possibly be African, though. I should have asked him what his father was.
He looked possibly like he could have been African. So Africa is a huge continent, right, with several countries. So the thing is that if you're from an African country, now remember, you can't be too dark. If you light, then you may have a way of not being a Canaanite or a Hamite. But if you're dark, crispy, and you're from Africa, that's a guarantee that you are a Hamite. Anything else doesn't matter. But let's just keep going. All right. So here,
enemies of the Israelites are the enemies of God. Because if you hate the so-called Hispanic man and the so-called natives, then guess what? You hate the apple of God's eyes. Therefore, you hate God.
now did you guys hear that? I'm going to play it for you one more time. And bear with me, I'm utilizing some new technology. So let's do this.
So God has enemies as well. The enemies of the Israelites are the enemies of God.
So right here, he says the enemies of the Israelites are the enemies of the Most High, right? So what he's saying is if you hate the Israelites, then therefore you hate the Most High. All right, well, that doesn't sound too bad because we're the apple of his eye. But let's just keep hearing what he has to say.
Because if you hate the so-called Hispanic man and the so-called natives, then guess what? You hate the apple of God's eyes.
All right, so if you guys are listening, he said if you hate the Hispanics, Native Americans, that means you hate the apple of the Most High's eyes. And listen to this.
Therefore, you hate God.
Therefore, we hate God. So we hate God because we don't believe that these people, these Native Americans, these Hispanic, what I would like to call them Canaanites, and we're going to talk about that tonight. They say we hate God because we don't believe that they are the true Israelites. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to get up here and act like I know I've looked at every single video that these people have done, but I don't recall seeing them too much take up for us as far as much as they take up for these people. I don't see them taking up for us like this. Let me show you a clip really quick. Let me show you this one.
Out in Brooklyn doing the same thing.
Oh, okay. What camp y'all from?
We don't have
Your husband's from yeah.
Ephraim, yeah.
He's out teaching now?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not the only ones in the cold.
No.
All right.
All right, pour me a shot. Everybody got their
All right, so right here, this is them outside, right? And they're saying that Ephraim is in the building. Okay, nothing unusual here, but let's just keep looking.
Ephraim in the building.
You got fringes on our shoes. Ephraim disappeared out of from a chariot.
Did you guys hear that? Let me rewind it a little bit back for you.
Ephraim disappeared out of from a chariot.
Ephraim just appeared out of a chariot somewhere. These men saw these Hispanic women and had the nerve to say these women came off of a chariot. Now, Zabak, I actually had respect for him. He was one of the camps that I actually followed. A lot of them, from the knowledge that I gained, my husband came to me and he taught me about this information. And a lot of us watch, Zabak. And I'm gonna tell you something. I actually reached out to him. I actually sent him a message and I asked for him to come on to my channel so we can have a conversation. I didn't get a response. And I guess because if I was Ephraim, maybe I would have gotten a response, because maybe then I would have came off of a chariot. But let's just keep going, right? Let's look at this again.
I think so.
Okay, so don't let me go.
Ephraim disappeared out from a chariot. Just popped up out of nowhere.
Somebody said, what if it look white?
So right there, they said Ephraim came off a chariot. Wow. Chariot. What does that mean, that Ephraim came off of a chariot? Like, seriously, like, why did Ephraim come off of a chariot? Nobody else, these random women just showed up and all of a sudden they came off a chariot. I mean, that's how much they love these women. That's how much they love these people. And I got another clip for you. Let's check this out.
Well, I'm not an Israelite.
Yes, you are.
You don't want to be an
You don't want to be.
You don't want to be an Israelite. I'm an American.
If your father's of Indian, Mexican descent, and you are an Israelite, whether you
He hates black people.
whether you
He hates black people.
All right. So right here, he's letting them know that his father don't care nothing about this. He hates black people, right? This man is literally telling these guys that he hates black people. Well, let's just keep looking.
So you don't know what a house nigga is?
No.
Do you agree with him?
I'm the cameraman. Direct that to the priest.
Can you tell me
How much does your father hate blacks?
He really hates black.
Oh, man, yes.
Yes. He does. My dad.
Your father hates.
And if dad, you're watching this, dude, you know.
Yeah.
You don't like black people.
Right.
You hear that? So right here, he's telling them that he don't care about none of that. He's telling them that he don't care. His daddy hates them. He hates them. It's obvious they grew up and was raised to hate black people. But what are they doing? They're being very patient. They're taking their time. This man has offended them. And I mean, trust me, if a black person, or just say me, myself personally, would have walked up there and said half of what this man has said, do you think I would have been met with the same type of love and support and care? No. Would they have held me by my hand? No, they would have told me to get away and told me to be quiet. But let's just keep listening to this man.
Right, there you go.
Yo, is your father dark like you?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
You see, there you go.
That's real Issachar that hates you. Right,
Yeah.
go, brother B.
My dad does, man.
What about you? Unless, wait a minute. Unless the man is a brown covered Edomite.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. Unless the man is a brown covered Edomite.
So he gets up in here and he says that you never know. Well, how do you know? Because the thing is they're mixed with these people. This is who they are. These people have absorbed them into their community and came to this country and, civilized these people, and then brought them up and saying that you can check the white box, right? They can check the white box. They just have to put Hispanic next to it, but they can check the white box. See, we can't check the white box. We have to check the black box. But these people can check the white box. Why? Because they are white. But they don't care. right? It doesn't matter. All they got to do is just walk up. All they got to do is just say hello, shalom. That's all they got to do. They came off of chariots. They're patient with them. They're teaching them. All of that, right? It's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. I mean, guys, are you guys seeing these videos? Are you guys seeing this take place? These people really are acting like this with these people. But I know you guys came in for a little more than that, and I'm ready to give it to you. So just give me a second. I'm going to pull up my presentation because we're really about to go in and take a further deep into the history of these people. So let's get started. Just give me 1 second. All right, can everybody hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I'm gonna look and see if everybody can hear me. Okay, checking the chat. Let me know. Okay, I'm gonna look and see if everybody. All right, so let's start. So there is a hidden history that has been obfuscated from us, right? There is a hidden history. What is the point of having secret societies if there are no secrets? We got to think about it like that. What is the point of there being secret societies when there are no secrets? That makes absolutely no sense. So let's begin. So I want to say a big warm welcome to the truth seekers, the independent thinkers, and the independent researchers. Pat yourselves on the back because you're not brainwashed and manipulated by this dumb, these evil, wicked people. These people are evil and they're wicked, and we're going to expose them tonight. It says, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. In whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. That's the Most High. Oops, sorry, I'm sorry. It says to remember to always fill yourself with power, wisdom, the truth, and enlightenment. Enlightenment. The thing is to power is knowledge. To have power is to have knowledge, is to have the information. People who are sitting there blindly following these people don't have any understanding as to what's going on. They don't care about the Most High. All they care about is these men. That's all they care about. So in 2 Peter 2:1 through 2:2, it says, but there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destructions. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reasons of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. So right here it says truth shall be evil. And you know what? I was very, this is, when I found out who the Canaanites were, I was very excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this information is going to break the internet. We're going to go crazy. You know, they've been saying that we're the Canaanites for this long. But all I was met with was anger. I was met with people that didn't want to deal with me anymore, didn't want to have anything to do with me, didn't want my information. And I was very surprised by that. But this scripture right here, it says, the truth shall be evil speaking of. But guess what? We don't have that problem, guys. We're truth seekers. We're independent researchers. And we don't mind the truth. We don't care about the truth. All we know is that we just want it as best as we can get it. We're never going to have it perfectly. But guess what? We're on the path to find out. So, in that clip I played earlier for you guys, we had Deacon Sakari. Goodness, I don't have that clip right here. I got to get that clip. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to use this new way they have it set up. Anyway, remember, if you guys saw my trailer, I had Deacon Sakari. He used the words black and crispy. Remember that? He used the words black and crispy as if they were insults. Okay, so when he was talking about people, remember he was talking to TCA, and he was like, well, you're not, you know, you're not black like them. You're not crispy and black like them. How is it that they could, how is it that you think that you're an Israelite because you're not black and crispy? But let me get a second because I want to make sure you guys see that clip. Okay, but anyway, let me just keep going. So I'm going to review this scripture that I have. So in the book of Revelations 1:15, and we're utilizing the King James Version, it says, Christ having feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace. You do not get any crispier than that. The most Christ is said to have feet as if they were burned in the furnace. So when we heard him talk to TCA, when he said, oh, you're acting like you're black like them, you burn like them. Okay, well, nobody's more blacker or burned than Christ, Yeshua, Yahamashiach. Nobody, right? Because it says here in the scripture. Now, like I said, I want you guys to, let me stop for a second. This is what happens when you live. And let me make sure I have this video because I want you guys to hear this clip. Just 1 second. I think, nope, that's not it. I'm getting ready to upload it just a second, guys. But anyway, in that process, let's see. Where is it? I think this is it right here. All right. So, like I was saying, so let me get back to my presentation, and then when that video uploads, I will play that clip for you. All right. All right. So, like I was saying, you don't get any crispier than that. So right here, let's just get it out the way. So why is Negro only a problem? Why is it a problem? Because it means black women only. Let's just get to the point. It means black women only. That's why Negro only is a problem, because it means you only can be with a black woman. Because why? Because only black women create Negroes. It says these men are only with you until they can get the women they truly want. The Caucasian, Native American, and Hispanic women. It says the truth is the only thing we black women can make is a child with what he calls black, crispy, or dark skin with nappy hair. Now, I did not play that clip. Let me see if it's downloaded because, or uploaded, whatever. And let's see if I did that. Let's see. Here it is, right here. Let's play it.
So this is the debate we did on Sunday. This is the debate we did on Sunday about the 12 tribes chart. Now, the Brother Thoughts Camera Action, he has a really big platform. It's pretty big. I don't know how many subscribers he got because you can hide your subscribers. So he believes the Northern Kingdom is in Africa or something like that. But, you know, we went on his show because, you know, quite frankly, a few people were sending me his videos such as Arsarith, where Africa or America. He's he's doubling down. His whole thing, though, honestly, is about phenotype. He like, okay, well, Latinos and Native Americans, they don't look like us, so how could they be Israel? Just really carnal, you know what I mean? I mean, all I see is Negro this, Negro that, pictures of Negroes. You know, he's a light-skinned individual, so I don't know why he's always pulling up these black crispy Africans saying they're Israelites as if he looks like them or something. But because for majority of the time, he was questioning us about phenotypes and looks. Why does one look like this? Why does one look like that? Again, the most important piece of evidence that we have to prove who's Israel is prophecy. The curses are a part of prophecy. He looked like he could possibly be African, though. I should have asked him what his father was. So this is the...
All right, guys. So you heard him say the black crispy Africans. He said that. So I just wanted to make sure those of you that just came in that you guys heard that. Because when I continue on, I'm going to be referencing that. Okay. So now, like I said, I'm getting ready to get back to my presentation. And then I'm going to actually stay in it. Because I made sure you guys saw that clip. All right. Now let's get back to it. So, like I was saying, the whole purpose of this Negro only, the whole reason why it's not Negro only because it means black women only. Remember, the truth is the only thing we black women can make is a child with what he calls his black crispy or dark skin with nappy hair. He said when you add in the 12 tribes chart, what you're actually saying to us is we have options. We don't have to deal with you black women. See, with this 12 tribes chart, that includes Ephraim, who is a beautiful people. And I'm willing to bet that Deacon has a Hispanic woman. Now, I don't know, but I'm willing to bet he does. Eliminating the odds of his children having the nappy hair and the crispy black skin. Now, according to their doctrine, remember, ladies, any child they have, regardless the race of the mother, will still be an Israelite because of the seed of the father, dictate what tribe the child is. However, we know that all their children will soon be whited out and replaced, and their seed spoiled, just like their favorite enemy that they love to hate, Esau. So who are the true Hamites? Is it the sub-Saharan Africans or the Mesoamericans? Let's look at this. Now look at this right here. You guys see this person right here with the big old plate in the lip? Now, when they show Africans, they always want to show them with the plate in the lip. Well, why don't they show these Mesoamericans, these Native Americans, with their plate in their lips, right? I'm going to show it. So usually, when we see Africans, we see them like this with the tribal makeup on, or we also see them with the plates and the gauges in their ears, right? We see this. This is how we, stereotypically, we see the Africans. Now, like I said, there's many different tribes, and we're going to take a look at that as well. So I had another clip. I don't seem to have it, but he was actually speaking on how, they were bald, they were not, attractive, all these different. If you guys saw my trailer, you would have saw that what he was saying. So when they talk about African women and African girls being bald, why is that? People want to know, why is it for African girls to shave their heads bald? Like right now, Oprah Winfrey has a school where all the girls have to cut their hair off. So it actually is a history. It says we can trace this practice back to colonial times when they used to force Africans to shave their heads as a part of a humiliating ritual and strip them of their identity. So right here, they were actually forced to shave their heads. And it says even the Mau Mau grew their hair as an act of rebellion. So just growing your hair was rebellious. And they paid with their lives. So when you see a lot of these African women with no hair, it's because they were told that they couldn't grow it. And those that did grow it at one time were actually killed. So So when he wanted to address that, because Deacon spoke on that. Well, Deacon, let me tell you why they don't have any hair. Because they were threatened with their lives. Well, let's just keep going. These are actually African women right here who have very, very long hair. How do they have this long hair? Because they know how to grow it. A lot of us black women, black American women, went to Africa, and we actually sat down with them to take their trades so we can learn how to grow our hair, because we lost the knowledge of how to grow our own hair. But guess what? When they bring these herbs, minerals, all these different things back, when they try to produce these in the factories, they're always adding in all these, what would you call them? GMO products, genetically modified, all these different things that, we should not be putting in there. And that actually, takes away the quality. And that's why it doesn't work. But if we were to sit down with these ladies, we would have this long hair as well. Also, he wanted to talk about how they don't, like I said, they don't have any long hair. They're unattractive, all these different things. But we see a lot of our African women very beautiful, right? He also mentioned how African men do not grow beards. Well, this is the Maasai tribe. These men are from the Maasai tribe, and they actually have beards. These are actually called elders. In their tribe, the elders are the only ones that can grow beards. It's a tribal, it's a stature thing. When they grow up, they have to kill a lion. They have to be circumcised. They have a certain order of way how they do things in their tribe. So it's not that they can't grow beards. It's just that they pay respects to their elders who actually get a chance to grow their beard, right? Let's just keep going. So here we have the Maasai tribe that I was just talking about. And like I said, he wanted to talk about how these men don't have hair. They're bald. They're crispy black, whatever he want to classify them as. Now, we look at their hair, and guys, this is not no bundle of Indian Remy, okay? And those ladies who know what this is, this bundles of Indian Remy, no, this is actually their hair, okay? Now, you guys are probably wondering, why do I have this scripture here? So this is 1 Chronicles 12:8, King James Version. It says, "And the Gadites that separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness, men of might and men of war fit for battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions and were as swift as the roes upon the mountains." Now, when you actually look at these men, it actually fits this scripture. Now, I'm not saying that they are the Gadites, but what I am saying is they fit this scripture very well. I mean, when you look here, I say, will the true warriors please stand up? Now, the Maasai warriors fought lions, actual lions. Their job to become a man, to go into becoming a man, was to actually protect their families and actually take out a lion. Now, do they do that anymore? No, because lions are now becoming extinct, right? So they don't do that. But guess what? They still live side by side with these lions. So they have, like it said in this scripture here, it says they have faces were like the faces of lions. Well, this tribe right here actually fought and protected their families from lions. So let's get into these people. These are the people that they fight for. These are the people they love. They say that these are the Israelites. These are the true Israelites. Well, let's take a look. So I say, does this plate in his lip means that he is a Hamite? Or does these rules not apply to them? They got it too. So when you see the African people with it, you automatically going to say that's a Hamite. So do we say the same for them? Let's just keep watching. So right here, it is going to, like I said, I'm going there tonight. I am going there tonight. So we see here, this guy here has the plate in his lip, and they're getting ready. I guess he has on his battle outfit. Remember, I showed you guys the Africans, they were all set in their battle attire, ready for war. So I guess he's setting his, you know what I'm saying? He's all dressed up and ready to go. So here it is, 1 Chronicles, "And the Gadites, they were separated unto David into the hold to the wilderness might of men of war to fit for battle. They could handle shield and buckler." with the faces of lions. So this is what, according to IUIC, they say that the North American Indians are the gadites, and they utilize this scripture to support them. So you guys tell me, which tribe did they fit? Did they fit the African tribe, or does this fit these North American Indians? Now, I mean, look at this one over here. Now, remember, I showed you the African women with the gauges in their ears. They do that here. I guess, you know, when they're getting ready to go on their battle march, or they're going to march into battle, I guess he had these bongos in his ear and he was able to play on them. I guess he was being, you know, creative within this. I mean, he done drew on some, what is this? He drew on a mustache, or he wanted to enhance his mustache. I don't know. This guy right here, I don't know if it's a woman or a man, but he plugged his nostrils. I guess, you know, I guess that's pretty talented, because you can just be a mouth breather. I guess, you know, if you're in some form of battle or you're having some form of problem. Let me stop. I guess this one's getting ready to talk through their microphone through their nose. As you see, but I'm just having some fun. But we're going to get into some real stuff here. Now, if you guys know, this guy here, this is a deity. His name is Bes. He's actually an Egyptian deity. Now, when you look at his head, he always wears a crown of feathers on top of his head. Now, when you look here, as you see, they have this crown of feathers that they wear. Why do they wear this crown of feathers? Because they actually worship this deity. Now, this is actually a Mayan calendar. I know a lot of you guys have seen this Mayan calendar. Now, when you look here, you see the tongue that's sticking out of this deity here. This is actually called the mocking tongue. Now, the mocking tongue is actually something that is is said to be something that Bes, the deity Bes, is the one that this is where it came from. It actually came from him. So who is the Egyptian god Bes? So he is the god of the Hamites, really. It says Bes is a minor god of ancient Egypt, represented as a dwarf with large head, goggle eyes, protruding tongue, bow legs, bushy tail, and usually a crown of feathers. Remember, the crown of feathers. Who is the ones that's always wearing the crown of feathers? It's these so-called Native Americans, right? It says the name Bes is now used to designate a group of deities of similar appearance with a wide variety of ancient names. It says the god's figure was that of a grotesque mountebank and was intended to inspire joy or drive away pain and sorrow. So I'm not going to read all of that, but if you guys take your time, you guys can go back and read that. So, but right here we see this deity. His name is Bes, and when we looked at them, they actually have the same crown of feathers. And they are really, you know, like I said, they have the mocking tongue. All of this goes to the god Bes. Now here we have Ma'at, who is also an Egyptian goddess. And when you look at her with these feathers and this one feather at the top, the single feather. If you look at this, this is Ma'at. Now let me show you this. Now, if you look to the left, we have a Native American. As you see, her with her wings, she has them spread out just like Ma'at. Now, why does she do this? People have to ask this question. And if you look here, she has a single feather, just the same as Ma'at. Why is she doing that? Is she doing that because all of a sudden, out of the blue, just one day, she just said, hey, I'm just going to put these feathers on and I'm just going to, you know, get out here and fly? No. You know, she was dancing. She's actually out here dancing, but as you see, she's dancing to the deity Ma'at. Here she is again. She is Ma'at. This is who she is. She is Ma'at. If you look at the feather there, when you look at how she's standing, she's Ma'at. This is who she's worshiping. Now remember, we just looked at Bes, okay? You just looked at Bes, the deity Bes. And we saw how they had the crown of feathers. He was an Egyptian deity. Now you see Ma'at, and you see she is taking on the presentation of Ma'at. Now here we have I just want to show you her at the front and center, right? We can see her, and as you see, she has the single feather, and if you look at my aunt, she has a single flat feather. Now, this is not just something that was just a coincidence, right? This is not anything that's a coincidence. This is actual her following in the ways of her goddess, Ma'at. And that's who she is representing. And she's worship. This is her way of worship. Praise dance to Ma'at. And you know what, guys? That's not even my beginning. That was just the stuff for fun. So let's get serious here. All right, so let's look at the Egyptian. You have something called Egyptian pyramids, and then you have something called Sudanese pyramids. So we know that pyramids, everybody think of pyramids. When I say pyramids, the first thing that comes to your mind is Africa, is Egypt, is Africa. When you look at the Sudanese, they have their own pyramids here. And if, you know, one day I would love to, when I get a chance, I want to get to Egypt and I want to see these pyramids, right? But what if I told you there's pyramids other places? So let's get technical. You know me, I'm always with the sources. So there are 138 pyramids in Egypt, over 255 pyramids in Sudan, 10 pyramids in Nigeria. So when we all do this math, right, we're just going to round it up. We're not even going to sit down and do it. So that was 255, 138. So that's like 148. So we're looking at over 300, excuse me, almost 400 pyramids that are in Africa, right? So we said about 400 pyramids. Now, did you know that there were pyramids in North, Central, and South America? Yes, there are pyramids. And it says there's nearly 2,000 different pyramids can be found in North, Central, and South America. What? Hold on. What'd you say here? Naphtali, you gotta be kidding me. You mean to tell me there's 2,000 different pyramids that are found in the Americas? But everybody thinks of Africa when it comes to pyramids. But guess what? You have them here in the Americas, over 2,000. And what's the big deal about this? Because if these pyramids were in Africa, guess what they would have said? That these people were Hamites. But the fact that it's these people, oh, none of these rules apply to them. And if you look here, this is actually a Aztec image that they drew on their walls, a glyph. And you see here, this is called a ziggurat. And what they did was they used to sacrifice people on this flat part, and then they would roll their bodies all the way down these steps. And as you see, people are just standing around taking a look at what they have created. And I'm going to look more into that. So here we see ancient pyramids around the world. It says no matter if the civilization was Mesopotamian, Egyptian, or Mayan, its legacy today is in part marked by towering pyramids. So this pyramid right here, we're going to get into what this pyramid is, what it's for, all that good stuff. So this is the Mayans. The Mayans created this pyramid, and I'm utilizing the source from Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, it says on the basis of these discoveries, scholars in the mid-20th century mistakenly thought that the Mayan society was composed of a priestly class of peaceful stargazers. So they say here, now they talk about the so-called white man all the time. However, when they came here, they thought the Mayans were a priestly class of peaceful stargazers and calendar keepers, supported by a devout peasantry. Okay, they were saying they were like peasants. They looked at the stars, they made calendars, all this stuff. It says the Mayans were thought to be utterly absorbed in their religious and cultural pursuits, in favorable contrast to more warlike and sanguinary indigenous empires of central Mexico. But it says the progressive decipherment of nearly all of the Mayan hieroglyphic writings has provided a true, if lesser, evaluating picture. So what does this mean? It says once they were able to decipher their hieroglyphic writings, they started to realize that, hey, these people are not what they thought they were. Okay, it says the Mayan society and culture. It says many of the hieroglyphs depict the histories of the Mayan dynastic rulers who waged war on rival Mayan cities and took their aristocrats captive. Now that's nothing unusual to have war and to take people captive. That's nothing unusual. However, it says many of the hieroglyphs depict the histories of the Mayan dynastic rulers who waged war on the rival Mayan cities and took their aristocrats captive. Those captives were then, tortured, mutilated, nothing unusual, and sacrificed to their gods. Indeed, torture and human sacrifice were fundamental religious rituals of Mayan societies. They were thought to guarantee fertility, demonstrate piety, and propitiate the gods. And if such practices were neglected, cosmic disorder and chaos were thought to result. The drawing of human blood was thought to nourish the gods. So right here it's letting you know the only way that they can actually plead to their gods is by sacrificing humans, by giving out blood. And they believed that if they stopped doing that, that the sun wouldn't come up the next day. So they were having to sacrifice and kill people every single day. So it says many ziggurats or Mayan pyramids were built for religious ceremonies. The main pyramid at the Chichen Itza, for example, was built with exactly enough stepping stones to symbolize every day of the year. Wow, you see that intelligence there? It says that the pyramid had enough stepping stones to symbolize every day of the year, and that the very top of the pyramid was a small space for holding relics and ceremonial clothing. So this pyramid actually had every single day of the year. So these Mayans, they had knowledge, they had information. Okay? The thing is, they were just evil. So it says here, the Petén Guatemalan Mayan pyramids of Tikal. It says Tikal was an important urban and ceremonial center for the Mayan for about 300 to 900 AD. And they built many monuments here, including 5 pyramidal temples. Now look how large this pyramid is. And one thing about the Mayans is that, you know, one day I would love to go and, you know, visit and take a look at this stuff here. That's my thing. You know, I love history. But it says here it was topped by the temple of the two-headed serpent, and it's 213 feet high. It says after the Mayan abandoned the site, these pyramids lay largely forgotten in the rainforest for nearly 800 years. It says European explorers rediscovered them. So, right here, they have built this for their deities. Now, I'm going to get into this, and I'm kind of jumping the gun, but I just want to let you guys know what I'm doing, what I'm getting ready to do. They all want to talk about how these people came over here to worship the Most High, right? They said that they were the Syrians. They wanted to get away from them. They moved all the way over here to start building these very prestigious pyramids and were sacrificing humans. What made them want to do that? Where did they get this from? And that's the question that I want you guys to hold in your minds. And I'm going to gradually get to that point. So here's Kukulcan. So Kukulcan is actually the name of the deity, right? It says it's the name of the feathered serpent god in mythology and religion of Mesoamerica, in particular the Yucatí Maya. So this is the deity of the Mayan. It says he is also identified as the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl. Now, if you guys listen to anything that Guerrilla Hebrew says, he would tell you that Quetzalcoatl is actually Christ. He is just another representation of Christ. They just utilize a different name. We're going to see how much and how close he is to Christ tonight, okay? And that's why a lot of people out there need to share this video and let people know that, hey, these people over there, you really need to rethink the information, that they're either they're ignorant or they're evil, right? Let's just say that again. Either they're ignorant or they're evil. Now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just a little ignorant. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so it says Kukulcan is also named Quetzalcoatl. So here's Kukulcan. This is actually his ziggurat. This is actually his pyramid. They actually built this specifically for this deity. Now let's talk about Quetzalcoatl. Now Quetzalcoatl was a plum serpent, was one of the most important gods in ancient Mesoamerica. Quetzalcoatl was the god of winds and rain and the creator of the world and humanity. So right here they credit Quetzalcoatl as the god who created the world and humanity. Now this is the big question. Like I said, if they were to come over here, where did these deities come from? Where did they get because like I said, these deities were not over there with the Assyrians. Okay, they didn't worship these. And I'm going to talk about who they did worship and how it was separate and how it also connected. But like I said, nobody else is building these ziggurats except one place, and we're going to talk about what that place is. Now, here is the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl. So right here you see he has his own pyramid. And it says there are 3 major pyramids of Tehutic. I'm having a hard time with that name. Teotihuacan, of which the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, also known as the pyramid of the feathered serpent, is the smallest but maybe the most intriguing. It's near the southern end of the Avenue of the Dead. So right here we see the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, and then you see the feather serpent heads aligning down the path of the pyramid. Now, I don't mean any disrespect or any harm, and I'm gonna slow down, but when you look at these pyramids, the first thing we automatically assume is that they're Hamites, right? Because every time we see the Egyptians, they have the pyramids. The first thing we're going to say is that they're Hamites. But my question is, why don't they say that these people are Hamites when we look at their history? But I'm just getting started. So right here, let's take a look at Quetzalcoatl. Now it says about Quetzalcoatl's temple of Teno, I'm not even going to say that. Diaz wrote that the inside there were large pots. So in his temple, they're saying that there were large pots where human flesh of sacrificed natives was boiled and cooked to feed the priest. Now, that is also cannibalism. This is according to this source. If anybody want to come up here and tell me how I'm wrong, that's fine. We can have a conversation later. But right here, according to this source, it says that there were large pots. They were filled with human flesh that was sacrificed. Natives was boiled and cooked to feed the priest for Quetzalcoatl. Now, right here, if any of you guys ever been to Mexico, you would know that the airport is actually called Quetzalcoatl International Airport. So they're still holding on to this deity to this day. And they're actually, look here, here's the plane. And where does it say Quetzalcoatl? Right there. Now, like I said, if I'm wrong about this deity requiring the flesh of humans, then let me know. But that's just what the source says. Now, when we look here, I say who taught them this? Right here, this is actually off of their glyphs of them sacrificing humans and of them actually falling down the stairs. It says human sacrifice was intended to pay back the debt that was formed when the gods let blood from themselves to create the world. It says the Aztecs believed that if they didn't sustain the sun with blood, the world would come to an end. It was kind of like feeding the gods. Unlike in some other sacrificial cultures, where you might offer a human sacrifice to gain the power of a person, become richer and more important, or have more children. It says for the Aztecs, human sacrifice was really for personal gain. Wasn't really for personal gain. So a lot of people say that, oh, you sacrifice something. Like we see a lot of people sacrifice animals and things like that to try to get above, try to get, use voodoo, use witchcraft or whatever to try to get themselves let's say a movie role or to become an actor or become an actress. You know what I'm saying? We always hear about these people want to sacrifice something like that to get money, you know what I'm saying, to get a job, to get a position, but right here they're telling us that the Aztecs only did this. The only reason why they did this was because they wanted to feed their deities, wanted to feed their God, because they're saying that, hey, if the sun doesn't come up, it's because we didn't give the God blood. So they're saying that, hey, in order for the sun to come up, we got to make sure we sacrifice a human. So that's every single day the sun has to come up. So unfortunately, a lot of lives were taken because in order for them to feed their, to please their God, they have to make sure they provided blood. Now, again, why are they doing this? Where did they get this from? Who taught them this? Right? Let's just keep going. Now, when they talk about the Native Americans, they talk about the Trail of Tears. They tell us the truth about the Native Americans, how the Native Americans are strong people, and by bloodline, a chosen people according to the Holy Bible. They are known as the tribe of Gad in scriptures. Deuteronomy 33 through 20, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion. So remember we talked about that. We took a look into that. So right here we see what they have to say about the Native Americans. They say that they came with peace and promises and left Christianity in death. The war began with the landing of Plymouth Rock in 1620 and ended of the Battle of the Wounded Knee in 1890. It says within these 200 years, the so-called white man murdered well over 77 million Native Americans. Gadites, not to mention over 200 million plus throughout all the Americas. Okay, I'm not here to disagree with that, but what I am going to say is let's just keep listening. So let's talk about the Inca. Remember we talked about the Mayan, we talked a little bit about the Aztecs, so let's talk about the Inca. So the Inca, which are South American Indians who at the time of the Spanish conquest in 1532 ruled an empire that extended along the Pacific coast of the Andean highlands. Okay, now it says from the northern border of modern Ecuador to Mao River in central Chile. It says a brief treatment of the Inca follows for full treatment. Now it says the Inca religion combined features of animism, fetishism, and the worship of nature gods. It says the pantheon was headed by Inti, the sun god, and included also Viracocha, a creator god and culture hero. Now it says under the empire of the Inca, religion was highly organized state religion. But while worship of the sun god and the rendering of service was required of subject people, their native religions were tolerated. It says Inca rituals included elaborate forms of divination and the sacrifice of humans and animals. These religious institutions were destroyed by the Spanish conquerors' campaign against idolatry. So let's talk about that for a second. So right here, they're saying that the Inca their God required the sacrifice of humans and animals. And they said that the Spanish conquerors, or the Spanish conquistadors, they didn't like it. And we have to think about it like this, really. I'm not here to take up for any of these Spanish people at all. But they brought Catholicism. Where in Catholicism does it require their own business? What happened? How did these Spanish conquistadors do anything? What they did was they came with their disease, right? And that just wiped them out. However, also remember they thought that, they saw their hair and they thought that they were actually their god that came. Their deity actually was said to have hair like corn silk. And if you guys know what corn silk looks like, it's like blonde straight hair. So when these men came up, they thought that they were actually their gods. So, but what happened is, like they said, a lot of these Spanish conquerors, they didn't like to see the sacrifice of humans. And guess what? As soon as they came, we don't see them sacrificing humans anymore. But that's just something that I'm just thinking about as we speak. So, it says here, ancient mass child sacrifice may be the world's largest. It says more than 140 children were ritually killed in a single event in Peru more than 500 years ago. What could possibly have been the reason? So it says evidence for the largest single incident of mass child sacrifice in the Americas and likely in the world history has been discovered on Peru's northern coast, archaeologists tell National Geographic. It says more than 140 children and 200 young llamas appear to have been ritually sacrificed in an event that took place some 550 years ago. Now, unless this is just a hoax, these people are just trying to, make them look bad. But the thing is that they have said that they found this large mass sacrifice of children in Peru. Now, I'm just going to let you guys put that together the way you all want to. But let's just keep going. So right here, this is called Machu Picchu. This is actually found in Peru, all right? And actually, I can't wait to go check Machu Picchu out, right? So it says Machu Picchu is a temple of the sun. And here it is. This is how it looks. I mean, these people are look at them. They were designed, they had structure, they knew how to put together. They weren't living like off the street. Living out in the woods and just living in huts. They actually built and constructed a civilization. So how did all this begin? Let's just get to the bottom of this. I'm going to call foul. I'm going to say this is fraud about them being Israelites. This whole thing, I just showed you, and that was just a little bit of what I have today. If I would have just showed you just a little bit of that, do you think the Africans would be able to say that they're Israelites? Do you? If they would have had any of that information that we just had previously, they would have condemned them as Hamites immediately. But these people, no. So we're going to get more in depth, right? So in 2nd Esdras 13:40 through 46, it says those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanaser the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So let's take a second here. So these 10 tribes, and this here over here is Salmanaser. This is actually a real glyph of him. So right here, we see the king of Assyria, and they said, hey, they took it upon themselves, and they said, hey, let's just get out of here. Let's leave, and let's go forth, and let's start over, where no other man has ever lived. And they knew there that they might keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. All right. So right there, we see that they went somewhere where no man has dwelt, and they were supposed to keep the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. They were supposed to keep the 10 commandments, all of this, and go somewhere where the heathen isn't. So my question is, they did all of that to come here to America to do the most worst thing that anybody has ever seen historically? Somebody's not telling the full truth. No, somebody's not telling the full story here. Let's just keep going. So here's the Popol Vuh. Excuse me, I was taking a drink. Now this is the Popol Vuh, and this is what they say is the Mayan Bible. Now, if you guys sat down and actually watched Guerrilla Hebrew break down this Bible, this so-called Bible, and he actually utilizes it as a source to prove that they are the children of Israel. When this Bible actually doesn't say anything about the Most High, it has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is the fact that they say it's actually 2 deities that actually are the ones that created this world and created this, the whole, just created everything, the creator. They're saying that was 2 deities. However, right here, the oldest Bible in the world is the Ethiopian Bible, the oldest complete, let me make sure I say that, complete Bible, because somebody's going to get me. The oldest complete Bible is the Ethiopian Bible, but do they credit the Ethiopians as being a form of Israelite or Shemitic? No. They say that they're Hamites. But this Bible here, they say that these people are actually Israelites. Do you guys see the hypocrisy? But you guys are like, well, Neff, you never even gave us information of the Popol Vuh. Let's take a look. There's the Popol Vuh, right? So it said the Popol Vuh is the story of creation according to the Kishmaya of the region known today as Guatemala. It's translated as the council book, the book of the people, or literally the book of the Mat. It says the work has been referred to as the Mayan Bible. Although this comparison is imprecise, the Popol Vuh is not regarded by the Maya as the Word of God, nor as the sacred scripture, but rather as an account of the ancient world and understanding the Kish had a cosmology in creation before the coming of Christianity. So right here they're saying that they had this book before the Christians came. Now it says the Popol Vuh was probably written around 1554 to 1558 CE at a time when it became abundantly clear that the ancient beliefs and practices of the Maya would no longer be tolerated by their Christian conquerors. So right here they're saying that their Christian conquerors are the ones that were offended by their ways, offended by the cannibalistic ways, offended by the human sacrifice, all these different things that they were doing. They're saying that the conquistadors were offended and they wanted them to stop. So, according to the Popol Vuh, the Mayan hero twins are central figures of native included with the colonial quiche document called the Popol Vuh and consulting the oldest Mayan myth. So right here, they tell you that these Mayan twins are the ones that created the world, created everything, were the creators. And the thing is that they want to try to claim that these people actually believe in the Most High. Well, how did they believe in the Most High when they accredited a hero twins? That right there doesn't make any sense. So, like I said, the 10 lost tribes were the 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel were said to have been exiled from the kingdom of Israel. And then, they came over here they say they came over here to the Americas. So a lot of them want to say that, they use this as proof. So they say, hey, there's 10 lost tribes. They came over here. They say that there's 10 commandments actually found in New Mexico. This was actually the Los Lunas Decalogue stone, and it has the commandments on them written. It says this 80-ton boulder of volcanic basalt bears an inscription which is believed to be an abbreviated version of the 10 commandments, written in Hebrew. So what they say here is this Los Lunas Decalogue stone is actually the 10 commandments, which actually proves that Hebrew Israelites actually made it here. There's also the keystone. Right here, there's the keystone, and then remember we had the Decalogue stone, and we also had the keystone, and they're also accrediting these as proof that that Hebrew Israelites actually stepped foot here in the Americas, which they're saying is actually proving that these Native American Hispanics and Latinos are actually Israelites, right? So So I want you guys to hold this in your thoughts, these so-called evidence to prove that they are the true children of Israel. So here we have the Back Creek stone, and this one also is said to have Paleo-Hebrew inscriptions writing on it. So what they're saying is that there's actual Paleo-Hebrew actually subscribed on on this stone. Okay, now a lot of this is actually considered to be false. A lot of this information is actually said to not be true. I know a lot of you guys are probably like, well, why would you want to say that this actually proves that the Bible, this actually proves that the Most High is, all of that. And the thing is that, yeah, it does. But let me just continue on and just give me a sec to prove my point. Because there's a theory that the Phoenicians actually were the ones who discovered the Americas. Yes. Just like they want to say that the Israelites, the 10 tribes came over here. Well, guess what? There's actual, evidence that the Phoenicians are the ones that came here. Now it says the theory of the Phoenicians' discovery of the Americas suggests that the earliest Old World contact with the Americas was not with Columbus or North settlers, but with the Phoenicians. Okay, so right here we see that they actually have a theory that the Phoenicians discovered America. Now it says Phoenicians in the Americas is the Paraba stone of Brazil genuine. So there's something actually called the Paraba stone. So remember I talked about the Decolage stone. Remember I talked about the Bat Creek stone. But there's actually something called the Paraba stone. And it says Phoenicians in the Americas is the Paraba stone of Brazil genuine. It says the main purpose of this article is not to change the mind of skeptics, rather to clarify the interpretation of the Paraba inscription of Brazil written in the ancient Old World Phoenician. They said, is it fraud or is it genuine? It says the scientific method would require at least as much for the research of such a claim. Now, this is my theory. When I go through this, and I have a lot of information that I'm going to go through, I believe that a lot of them wanted to put these Hebrew writings here because there's so much Phoenician, and they don't want to prove that the Canaanites are actually here in this land. This is what they're trying to hide. And also, they don't want to prove that people were doing all this traveling around the world. They don't like the fact that there's actual historic people were traveling way before they even existed. They actually had knowledge of the oceans. They knew how to navigate all around the world and weren't afraid to do that. Right here we actually see a actual Phoenician boat. They had the two curved ends up, and this is how the Phoenicians boats looked. So right here we have this Paraba inscription. I know you guys were like, well, what is this inscription? What is this you're talking about? Well, this is called the Paraba inscription. It was in 1872. A stone was found on the northeast coast of Brazil, engraved with the Phoenician inscription, nowadays known as the Paraba inscription, where attempts were made to translate it. Among them, the following translation. So this is what it says. It says, we are the Sidonian Canaanites from the city of the mercantile king. We were cast up on this distant shore, a land of mountains. We sacrificed a youth to the celestial gods and goddesses in the 19th year of our mighty king Haram, and embarked from Ezion Geber, port of Aqaba, into the Red Sea. We voyaged with 10 ships and were at sea together for 2 years around Africa. Then we were separated by the hand of Baal and were no longer with our companions. So we have come here, 12 men and 3 women, into new shore. Am I the admiral, a man who would flee? Nay, may the celestial gods and goddesses favor us well. So this is actually an inscription that was actually found, and it's speaking on the Canaanites and how they actually became cast up. They actually crashed, and they made it into what we would consider to be America, the Americas, right? So here's the Paraba inscription again, and here is, we talked about it. It says here that the Sidonians were a form of Canaanites, and they were from the mercantile king, and they were cast up on a distant shore. Remember, we talked about that. And they sacrificed a youth to the celestial gods. Now, who does this sound mostly like? Does it sound mostly like the 10 tribes coming over here? Or does it sound like the Canaanites that came over here? Because they've been sacrificing people this whole time. So all of a sudden here we have them talking about them sacrificing as soon as they got here. Makes sense. But this is not all I have. So right here it says that they voyaged around 10 ships and were at sea together for 2 years around Africa, and they put Ham here. And a lot of you guys are like, well, Nev, they say Africa is Ham. Well, let me show you. Ham is actually at the northern portion of Africa. I know. But, and I'm going to be doing a video, and I hope you guys tune in, where I actually prove where the true land of Ham actually is. But right here we see that Ham actually resided at the northern portion of Africa. And if you look here, we actually have a path that they actually took. So right here we see that they were at the northern portion of Africa, and they came here, and they also traveled here. So remember, they had lost, they got away from I think it was 10 or 12 ships. And they got separated from them. So we see here, this was a path this way, and then there was a path that way. And they ended up making it right here in South America. And this is again one of their ships. Now let's take a look here again. So here we have Tyre, and then we have Egypt, then we go to Greece, and then we go around to Sardinia, and then we see Spain, and then that's when they travel down. So we actually see their path, and we actually can see how they travel to South America. And this is the area right here is where they said that they actually came to. It's right here, which makes sense because this is where they actually say that, you know, everybody migrated from, is right here, and then they started to go further up north. So ancient Mesoamerica and so we have ancient Mesoamerica right here, as you see. It's also located where the Canaanites were said to have shipwrecked. And if you look here, that's when they started to develop and civilization started to expand. So it actually is going quite well with what the parable inscription is saying. So let's talk about the Phoenicians. So the Phoenicians were persons who inhabited one of the city-states of ancient Phoenicia, such as Byblos, Sidon, Tyre, Beirut, or of the colonies located along the eastern Mediterranean trade routes. It says the Phoenician city-states produced notable merchants, traders, and colonizers. By the 2nd millennium BCE, they had settled in the Levant, North Africa, Anatolia, and Cyprus. Did you guys see that they settled in North Africa? They did not settle in South Africa. Okay, Hebrews to Negroes, stop telling that lie. Ron Dalton. But anyway, they settled in, and this is Encyclopedia Britannica. Like, come on, guys. We have the history. Nobody has to lie. But it says, by the 2nd millennium BC, they had settled in the Levant, North Africa, Anatolia, Cyprus. They traded wood, cloth, dyes, embroideries, wine, and decorative objects. Ivory and wood carvings became their specialties. A lot of people don't know, and I'm not even going to get into this. I'm going to get into this on my next video, but I'm actually going to talk about how the Phoenicians were so creative and how they, I mean, you know, King David in the scripture talks about how the in Tyre, they built up the mansion that he lived in, and those were the Canaanites that actually built that. Okay, and it actually is historically proven too, so I'm going to showcase that together. It says Phoenician goldsmiths and metalsmiths was well known. Their alphabet became the basis of whose alphabet? The Greek alphabet. Hold on now, you mean to tell me the Phoenician alphabet was the basis, the beginning of the Greek alphabet? How is that possible? Because they're Greek. Well, let's just keep going. So they say Phoenicians before the Columbus expedition. So they say they started here in Carthage, and they worked their ways all the way down until they got to around this Fort Lauderdale or Dominican Republic in the Caribbean. It says Phoenicians' boats sailed easily from Tyre and Sidon to leading Phoenician cities that produced murex, purple dye, both now in modern Lebanon to Gibraltar and Tangier, says Bill. The 2,000-odd-mile voyage is about the same distance as across the Atlantic. So right here we see their trail. So everybody has their trail. We see how they traveled. We have evidence that they were shipwrecked. We have evidence that they sacrificed somebody to be able to continue on their, path. And like I said, whose story does this sound mostly like? Does it sound like the Aztecs, Mayans, or does it sound like, do they sound like they're Israelites, right? So again, I have another map, a little bit more, specific, thorough for you guys to look. Again, this is how they traveled. You see Europe here. You see the northern portion of Africa. So let's talk about Europe. Europe is actually named after Europa. And Europa is actually, she's a Canaanite. It says Europa is a figure from Greek mythology who later gave her name to the continent of Africa. In one popular version of the story, Europa was a Phoenician princess who was abducted by Zeus and whisked off to Crete. King Minos, he of the labyrinth and Minotaur fame, would be one of the results of Zeus' rape. The legend of Europa, and particularly the search for her by her three brothers, may well reflect the historical colonization of the Mediterranean by the Phoenicians from 1200 to 800 BCE. So right here it says that the Phoenicians actually colonized the Mediterranean. I know nobody will ever hear about the Canaanites being in the Mediterranean area, but everybody is going to say that the Canaanites are in the northern portion of, the southern portion of Africa. But let's get back to my point. Europe is actually named after a Phoenician princess by the name of Europa. Now, a lot of you guys can get up here and say, "Oh, this is make believe," or these people, these Zeus. Are you serious? Well, guess what? They named their continent after Europa. Okay, and it was a Canaanite. Again, you guys take this how you want. So it says in 1892, Thomas Crawford Johnston published the following article in the November and December issue of California. So it says here, he would expand the article into a book-length treatise of the same name. Johnston's thesis was that the Phoenicians traveled the world and founded America's high civilization, including the Mayan and Aztecs. Superficially plausible in 1892. It says in 1913, the thesis rests on two problems with the late Victorian science. It says first, in the era before radiocarbon dating, it says was impossible, so Victorians had no way of knowing that the American stone cities were thousands of years younger than their old world counterparts. It says second, the reliance of the Bible as an accurate record of the ancient history twisted many discoverers to support an imagined biblical narrative. It says the following text and its original illustrations come from a special bulletin of the Geographical Society of California, which produced a standalone version of Johnston's article. So right here, it's asking the question like, did the Phoenicians discover the Americas? And we know that they actually did, because remember, we just did a lot of thorough investigation. So let's take a look at what this is. This is actually called America Stonehenge. A lot of you guys probably have never known that America actually has a Stonehenge. Now it says it was built by the Native American culture or a migrant Europe. They don't know if it was built by Native American culture or a migrant European population. Now, they're just saying this to be nice, right? They're trying to be politically correct. That's what it is. They're trying to be politically correct. It says no one knows for sure. It says a maze of man-made chambers, walls, and ceremonial meeting places at over 4,000-year-old American Stonehenge is mostly likely the oldest man-made construction in the United States. All right, so if these people were supposed to be the only people here 4,000 years ago, then they're the ones that actually created this. And it also says that they have maze of man-made chambers, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. It says, like Stonehenge in England, America's Stonehenge was built by an ancient people well versed in astronomy and stone construction. It has been determined that the site is as accurate as an astronomical calendar. So we know who had a very accurate calendar, and that was the Mayans. Okay, and their calendar stopped at around what year? It's at 1999, right? So it says various inscriptions have been found throughout the site, including Ogham, Phoenician and Iberian Punic script. Okay, so let's take a look at this American Stonehenge. Now it says, once known as the roadside attraction of Mystery Hill, American Stonehenge in Salem, New Hampshire includes mysterious rock formations, a warren of man-made caves and chambers and stone walls that stretched across the hilltop. The origins and purpose of these structures have been hotly debated among scholars and amateur sleuths for years. So right here, again, they talk about how there was mysterious rock formations. There were man-made caves and chambers, so it was very intricately designed. Okay, these people actually knew what they were doing. You know, it was based off of the calendar, and we know that we find this same, buildings within the Aztecs and the Mayans, and I'm going to showcase that in a second. Now, there's also something called the sacrificial stone. It says there is a so-called sacrificial stone which contains grooves on the site that some say channeled blood, but it closely resembles lye leaching stones found on many farms that were used to extract lye. So they're trying to say, hey, was this a sacrificial, or was it just somewhere where they, took ashes and created, lye for soap? But when you look here at this flat stone here. Let me show you another image. They say that this stone is actually an altar stone. And when you go into this chamber, right, you can actually go in and actually, you know, I guess worship or whatever they wanted to do. But this is actually the flat top right here. And they're saying that they actually laid them down and they actually sacrificed people right here on this stone. And this is found in the Americas. Now here we have something called the Pyramid of the Stone. Pyramid of the Sun. It says little is known of the people who built this pyramid, and the purpose of the Pyramid of the Sun remains largely a matter of conjecture. It says archaeologists believe that there was once a temple atop the pyramid in the early 1970s. Exploration below the pyramid reveals a system of caves and tunnels and chambers. Now, wait a second. Didn't we just read about caves, tunnels, and chambers? Let me go back, just in case you guys forgot. It says American Stonehenge, right? It says in New Hampshire, it includes mysterious rock formations, a warren of man-made caves, chambers, and stone walls. Now, when we go here to this Pyramid of the Sun, it says here, the Pyramid of the Sun remains largely a matter of conjecture. Archaeologists believe that there was once a temple atop the pyramid in the early 1970s. It says the exploration below the pyramid revealed a system of caves, tunnels, and chambers. And other tunnels, here we go, tunnels were later found throughout the city. It sounds exactly like what they had in American Stonehenge, right? There's no speculations there. They had the caves, the tunnels, and the chambers built in this Pyramid of the Sun. The same thing that they had in American Stonehenge. So we don't have to guess. We can just utilize the information that we have in the other sites that they have built. Now, they also talk about caves and tunnels. You know I got to put a joke in, right? It says federal agents find sophisticated tunnels under U.S.-Mexico border and seize almost a ton of cocaine. It says El Chapo escape tunnel. A police cordon is seen around a building hiding the opening of a tunnel that connected to the Altiplano Federal Penitentiary. So they was actually running away. They was actually utilizing these tunnels to run a ton of cocaine, and they also was using El Chapo was using this to escape these tunnels. So these tunnels are actually still being utilized by them to this day. They're continuing to build them, right? So it says U.S.-Mexico, as of September 30th, 2015, 183 illicit cross-border tunnels have been discovered in the United States since the fiscal year of 1990. Now you guys are like, well, why are you making such a big deal about these tunnels, Neftali? Well, let me tell you. Function and origin. A Canaanite tunnel already collected the spring water. Canaanites were known for building tunnels. That's what they did. Canaanites built tunnels. And I want you guys to take your time and I want you to research how they, and I'm not really going in depth into this because this is not my point. Like I said, I'm going to really talk about these things in my next video, but I just wanted to give you a taste that the fact that the Canaanites actually were known for building tunnels. They're the ones that actually were the ones that built, they built a tunnel that actually ran water, that released water into the fields. They actually had water running through tunnels. This is how people look at the Canaanites. They look down on them, but they were actually very knowledgeable, very creative, and they knew how to, you know, they were very sophisticated, right? And I'm going to showcase more of that in my next live. But this one right here, I just wanted to showcase how they were building all these tunnels over here in Mexico. But guess what? They were building those same tunnels over there in Tyre and Sidon. So this is Tel Megiddo. So let's start here. The Amorites founded Babylon. Now, what am I talking about with the Amorites and the Babylonians? Everybody always talks about this is Babylon. America is Babylon. Everybody talks about how America is Babylon and how this is Babylon. Okay, if America is Babylon, then who are the Babylonians? Everybody always says that these are the Babylonians, this is Babylon, all this and all that, but they really don't want to admit who really are the Babylonians. Because when you really do the research and you really break it down, you find out that the Amorites, yes, founded Babylon. Right here, the Babylonian Empire was established by the Amorites in 1895. The Amorites were a Semitic people originally from Syria who came to establish several city-states in the southern regions of Mesopotamia. Yes, the Amorites, they're the ones who are the Babylonians. I know. Babylonia. It's the real reason why I'm about to end too, so I'm building up my grand finale. All right, so it says Babylonia was an ancient Akkadian-speaking state and cultural area based in the city of Babylon in central southern Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. Hear that? Present-day Iraq and parts of Syria and Iran. It emerged as an Akkadian-populated but Amorite-ruled state. During the reign of Hammurabi and afterwards, Babylonia was respectively called the country of Akkad. So, right here, we see that the Amorites ruled over Babylon, and they're the ones who established Babylon. Canaanites. So what about Babylon? It says Babylon is the most famous city from ancient Mesopotamia, whose ruins lie in modern-day Iraq. So guess what? So here we have Babylon, and here we have Mesopotamia. But guess what? This here, does this look a little familiar? Does this look familiar? This is the ziggurat of Intimanaki. Okay, he was a deity, and he was a deity, or I believe he was either a deity or a king. Let me make sure I get that right. But the thing is that he had this built. Now, does this look familiar to you? Here we have the one that's on the left is from the Mayans, and then we have the one on the right. It's the Babylonians. Again, we have the Mayans on the left, and we have the Babylonians on the right. Why are the Mayans building something that the Babylonians built for their deities? Why would they do that when they're supposed to came over here and kept the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments? Instead, they built ziggurats. Okay? And I have a point. I'm building. So this is a ziggurated This is actually an which is like Iraq, Iran over there, right? And this is what it used to look like. This is the one that this was about 1923 when they discovered this one. And this is guys, these names, I should have researched these names before I came on here. Nabonidus, who was a king of Babylon, and this was actually his ziggurat. And it says a 22-inch, so this is actually his ziggurat right here, this king of Babylon. Now, when you look at the Pyramid of the Sun, which is in Mexico, does it not look the same as the ziggurat of Let's look at it again. Now, this is the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico, and this is the pyramid, the ziggurat at in Iran or Iraq. So, right here, the ziggurat of was found and ruined by it was founded by Nabonidus of Babylon. It's sometimes referred to as the first archaeologist who tried to restore it. The upper level of the site in modern day is primarily the work of Nabonidus. Okay, so right here, you guys see Saddam Hussein. A lot of you guys probably knew that he was trying to rebuild Babylon. So what he did was he rebuilt this ziggurat at So right here, this is actually a image that was reflected from the Babylonians. They showed that this was actually what the Babylonians did. They actually, if you look up the Babylonians, you will see that they actually were the ones who were throwing human beings down the steps. So everybody, when you talk about the Babylonians, everybody goes like, oh, you know, the Babylonians were evil, they were wicked, they did this and they did that. Well, guess what? These same Aztecs, same Mayans are developing and building the same exact things as they built in Babylon. Remember, Babylon is the one that has these ziggurats. Why do we see these same ziggurats in Mexico? This is all the way on the other side of the doggone world. How would they even have the knowledge or information about this, and why would they care? Right? So right here we see that Saddam Hussein actually took his time and to rebuild it. If you guys remember, he was rebuilding something. He was actually rebuilding this because he was showing homage to his ancestors, because he knows who his ancestors were. He knows to pay tribute to his ancestors. He knew to do that. That's why he built the ziggurat. But nobody's going to, you know, put those two together because they don't want, I mean, it's there to put together. The information is out there. If you really want to know, they say go look it up yourself. And like I said, it says, yes, there is evidence that human sacrifices were made in Babylon. The ancient Babylonians practiced a polytheistic religion that involved the worship of many gods and goddesses, and some of these deities were believed to demand human sacrifices as a part of their worship. Now, is this just some, you know, irony? Is this just a coincidence? Is this ironic? You know, is it just coincidence? Like, what's going on here? You know, this image right here is Babylonian, and this one right here is Aztec. It's from the Aztecs. Now, also look at this. You guys who follow me know I talk about the Sumerians, I talk about the Babylonians, and I talk about their deities that they worship. It's a big deal because right here, this bird is actually from Ecuador, which is here in South America. And then we have this bird here on the walls in Mesopotamia, on their glyphs, on their glyphs. And don't these two birds look the same? Okay? These are the same deities. They have this deity here in Mesopotamia on the glyphs, which is over there with the Babylonians. And then we have this same bird here on their glyphs, and this is in Ecuador. And then we see them right here, and they dress up in this outfit, this attire of who? This same bird, this same deity. Now, think about it like this. We see them do these parades, these carnivals, whatever you want to classify them as. And they have on these authentic, very, you know, colorful outfits, you know, these costumes. It's a whole, you know, it's a beautiful parade and all that kind of stuff. But where do they get this from? You know, why do they do this? Are they just doing this because it's just a thought in their minds? They were just really creative, or are they really just showing homage and worshiping their God? And we see it right here that this deity was worshipped in Mesopotamia, and this deity here was worshipped in Ecuador. These same deities were said to, some of them required blood, some of them didn't, and we look at their history of the Aztecs and the Mayans, they said the same thing. They say, hey, some of our gods, in order for this sun to come up, in order for this moon to come out, we need to make sure we feed them, and the only way we can feed them is with blood. And that's the same thing that they said about the Babylonians. Now, would it make sense that these Canaanites came from their land, which I just told you that the Amorites were actually the Babylonians, okay? And they set forth sail, and they came all the way over here, and that's why we see the deities that were there in Sidonia, Tyre, Sidon, wherever you want to say, whatever part of Canaan that you want to say. They came all the way over here, and they brought their religion with them. Now, that makes the most sense. I'm going to say this. Now, when you think about it, the Canaanites have always been said to be us as Black people. A lot of us, you know, I've talked to many of my friends. A lot of them tell me they have debates with their parents. They try to tell them that they're not the Canaanites, and they still will look at you dead in your eye and say, hey, we are the Canaanites. That's who we are. We are Ham. Ham is Black. That's it. No matter how much information, no matter how much evidence, they can come out their mouths like Saddam Hussein and tell you, hey, I'm a Babylonian, and be proud of it. This information is right here for all of us to see, but guess what? A lot of you guys are probably going to have a problem with it still. But right here, we see where they got this from. This bird is actually found in Ecuador, and this bird here is actually found on the walls of Sumer. I mean, on the glyphs of Sumer, or Babylonian, or Babylon. And I say here, is this a coincidence? Is this a coincidence? It says, this is the stone relief carving of an eagle-headed genius from the temple of Ninurta at Kaluhu. Such depictions were widely but erroneously identified as Ninurta in the 19th century and were popularly known as Nisroch. So this was actually in the temple of Ninurta. This was found in the temple of Ninurta, and this was here was actually found in the temple, and it's Ecuador. How is this? Like I said, is this just ironic? Is this just a coincidence? Like, how is any of this making sense? And here we have Quetzalcoatl. This is actually found in this is found in their books. And if you look at Quetzalcoatl, this here is an image of Baal. If you look at Quetzalcoatl's hat, pointed hat, and then you look over here at Baal, he's known for this pose. If you guys ever look at Baal, he always has one arm up, and he always has some form of weapon in his hand. And right here you see he has that hand up, and if any of you guys ever research Baal, you always see him with that arm up and that hat. Now, I was watching a video, I was doing some research with Gorilla Hebrew, and he actually talked about that Popol Vuh, and he actually said that we make a big deal out of the god Baal. He said that Baal, yes, sometimes he is attributed to a demon, but sometimes he's not, which is not true. But this is what he's saying, because we see the information of them, they're actually literally praising Baal, but he wants you to look at it like, oh no, not this Baal is not the demon Baal, this is just Lord, this is just a Lord. And he actually said that the most, King David actually called the Most High Baal. But let's take a look at the scripture. He says 2 Samuel 5:17-25. It says, but when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came up to seek David. And David heard of it and went down to the hold. The Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into mine hand? And the Lord said unto David, go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into thy hand. And David came to Baal Perazim. Now, it said he came to Baal Perazim, which is a city. So he came there, and David smote them there, and said, the Lord hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me, as the breach of waters. Therefore he called the name of that place Baal Perazim. Did it say anything about him calling the Most High Baal anything? No, it says that he called, let me do this again. It says David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there. So right there we see that that's actually a location, and then he smote them, or he killed them there, and said, the Lord has broken forth upon my enemies before me as the breach of waters. Therefore, he called the name of that place. He didn't call the Most High that. He didn't call the Lord that name. He called that place Baal Perazim. Right there. It says it right there. We don't have to go in. We don't have to use the blue letter. We don't have to go into the look into different Bibles and, Strongs and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to do that. We just read what it says. Now, to their defense, and I'm just going to say this, a lot of them don't look into the King James. A lot of them look into these other books, which they should not, but they do. And people can do whatever they want to do. But if you're trying to get close to the Most High's, word, then you have to go into the King James. I don't know what they're reading, but according to my text, it clearly says that he called that place Baal. He didn't call the Most High Baal at all. So let's talk about Baal real quick. So it says Baal was a god worshipped in many Middle Eastern communities, especially among the Canaanites, who apparently considered him a fertility god, deity, and one of the most important gods in the pantheon. As a Semitic common noun, Baal meant owner or lord, although it could be used more generally. For example, a Baal of wings was a winged creature. So they're just talking, we just saw that Baal could be utilized as a name of a city. Right here, we see that there is actually a temple here that's named after Baal. So we see that Baal, and if you look over here, they say that Baal worship. I have a video where I talk about Baal worship is actually still what they talk about with the Catholics. They're worshiping Baal. All of these different deities all go back to Baal. So with that, guys, I am done, and that's the end of my presentation. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions or anything that you might want to ask, or you have anything that you want me to clarify or, break down, let me know. Just 1 second while I clean everything up. All right, guys. So, like I said, guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to look at everything. I haven't been able to. Oh, somebody sent me a cash. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, hold on 1 second. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to drop the link. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, or if you just don't, you need a little bit more information. And to a lot of you guys, like I said, I'm going to be doing a part 2. I didn't want this to be too long and drawn out, and I want you guys to be able to sit down and actually research and look into the information yourself. And like I said, part 2, I will be going more after Guerrilla Hebrew. That's who I'm going to be targeting. So I dropped the link. Is anybody going to hit the link so we can have a conversation or a debate? All right, so let me, oh, I have somebody coming up here. Let's see.
Shalom, sister. Shalom, sister.
Hey, shalom. What's up, bless? What's going on, Shaul?
One information.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, yes. Just pray for me. That's it. Don't say one information.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you're breaking up or what's going on.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yes. Information. I very enjoyed. Some things to consider, reconsider. So just pray for your beloved brother and sister.
I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on and definitely giving me that. I worked hard, and I thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there is anything you need, if any questions you need me to further information you need me to clarify, anything like that, I'm right here. If there is anything that you don't agree with or if you disagree with, I'm right here for that too. All right, just 1 second. All right, shalom, wisdom. Oh, Yavin, shalom to you. Most I bless to my brother up here in wisdom. Shalom, most I bless to you. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm all right.
He's the guy that's been scamming Hebrews. Shaul, they're saying that you're scamming Hebrews?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm actually home. I have a YouTube video petition at Sheets with a 24-hour diner. It's on YouTube where I'm at.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Well, I just want to thank Hazel. Thank you so much, my sister, for the donation. I truly appreciate you. I truly appreciate your support. You're always there for me, and I hope that I return the favor with my information. You said there is an echo? Oh, is it? What? Okay. Did somebody come on here with an echo? Is it me? There is an echo. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
you might have to go and
shalom.
get echo cancellation.
I'm sorry. What was that?
You might have to go into your settings and echo cancellation.
Okay, let me do that. Thank you for that. All right, how is it now? Is it better?
Yeah, I think so. I don't hear myself anymore. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. We think we fixed it. All right. And if anybody wants to, make sure you guys please subscribe if you have not. Please like the video. Like I said, I will be doing a part 2. This was just part 1. And with the part 2 video, I will be going further into depth about the Ham and what land actually really truly belonged to Ham, and what happened and what caused Israel to lose the land that they actually have, and how it was actually hijacked from the Hamites. So you said he is a scammer? Okay. Well, I'm going to remove you because I'm getting a lot of feedback, but thank you so much for tuning in though. All right. Okay. So we got Yavin, you came on. Did you want to say anything before I have Wisdom speak? Are you there? Can you hear me? I guess he stepped away. All right. Well, Wisdom, shalom, most high bless to you. Thank you for coming up. What you think about the presentation? How much of it did you see?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I literally just came in at the end, maybe like 4 minutes, 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I literally only caught the part where you said that you was reading a passage and you were saying that about how they marked the land or something like that, and they called it Baal such or whatever. Oh, I heard you about you reading about somebody being smoked or whatever. I heard that part. Or
yeah,
smokes.
in the Bible, that was scripture where it said that King David has smote the Philistines.
Okay, so it's kind of I have a overall interpretation of what I think the things mean or whatever, but I just want to just run it by you and see if you can see if it can be considered, right? So I look at it from the idea of overall is that when it comes to the Bible, that we want to try to make everything be good, right? It's like righteous and good, whatever, especially when it comes to God. So when we talk about killing people and everything like that, it's easy for the naysayer to be like, look, see, your God is a murderer and all of this and all that, right? So I chose to look at it from, people would call it an esoteric point of view, or whatever, versus an exoteric, you know what I mean? I try to look at things on the spiritual side of things, so I don't get too caught up in the physical things or how people can paint things how they want to paint it, right? So now, saying that, so if I were to look at that scripture from an esoteric standpoint, when it was saying about smoting the Philistines, I would look at it as being like smoting the Baal belief or Baal doctrine or religion. You know what I mean? Like whatever the Philistines were following in that area, I think when they said they was battling or going to war and things like that, they were saying like doctrine, maybe like debating type thing. You see what I'm saying? That's my idea about it. What do you think about that aspect?
All right. I'm sorry. So can you repeat that one more time for me? I think your mic hit.
But let me ask you like this, right? Just to go step by step, okay? So, like with the Philistines, what do you think they were following or worshiping in that area? Do you think it was Baal?
Yes, they were worshiping Baal. Baal was, it said in the, they were in the land of the Rephaim. If you know, the Rephaim were actually supposed to be these giants, right? They're supposed to be mixed with the Nephilim, right? I'm not going into that tonight, but they said they were in the land of the Rephaim. They were the Philistines. And so the Most High sent David, King David, to go in there to smote, to destroy them. And the land was actually called Baal Perizim, which is actually named after Baal. They named their city or their civilization after Baal. So, and that's why the Most High wanted to destroy them, because they worship Baal.
Okay. Now that's what I was saying too. That's what I'm leading to. So I understand it's a theme, right? You see how we talk about the Philistines and all that. Okay, what God they worship? They worship Baal, right? So now, if you was to do that throughout the entire scripture, you would come to similar conclusions, right? So you know how, for instance, when they say that the children of Israel was led captive in Egypt. Okay. Now, we could look at it the exoteric way, where it's saying, hey, they literally was taken from this place and they was taken to Egypt and they were slaves and so on and so forth, as the story tells, right? But when we go and look at it from the way I'm trying to present it, as far as the esoteric aspect of it, it can be like they're just led captive into those beliefs or those understandings or those doctrines, not necessarily saying they had to literally be taken into that land, so to speak. You're kind of following what I'm saying.
All right. So you're saying that when the children of Israel went into the land of Egypt, you're saying that they followed into and they weren't led captive? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, technically, like led captive mentally, yes, as far as like following that doctrine of being subjective to that government or whatever was going on in that area, like being a part of the status quo, so to speak. You know what I mean? Following that doctrine or whatever instead of staying true. You know how people right today, they will follow this or follow that or whatever, you know what I mean, and not stick to what's true, you know what I mean, because they're trying to be politically correct or whatever the case is, or just trying to just fit in and be social, you know what I mean? So they would just go along to get along type thing.
Well, I get what you're saying, and I want to say this to you. When you talk about the Canaanites are actually who the people that are in charge today. They were the ones that were in charge back then. They were the ones that were building. They were the ones that were developing. They were the ones that had all the nice clothes, the wine. They had all of that. So when you look at the children, the Israelites, we were the ones that were shepherds, pretty much, had animals, we're sitting outside, we're farmers. You got all these folks doing all this stuff and building all these things. Well, we couldn't help but want to go on over there and hang out, so yeah, they were definitely led, and they went, and that's why they went into captivity, because they started to worship their deities, because they felt that their deities were actually giving them the rewards that they felt were better than what the Most High actually gave. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are saying that you're a Owaski believer. Do you believe in the Owaski?
The Owaski, no, not in particular, no.
Okay, well, people are saying that. I just want to make sure see if that was true.
Me? Oh, no, I'm not a Owaski guy at all. No, I don't think many people heard me at all. But they definitely not looking at things from the way I've seen them. You know what I mean? That's for sure.
Do you believe that you are an Israelite? Do you believe in the Bible?
Well, I used to. I came up that way. I came up as a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, before people even really knew what that was. You know what I mean? Back in the 80s under my parents or whatever. But it's a typical the way people present themselves as Hebrew Israelites today. No, not under that at all. My parents wasn't like that, no.
So what made you leave out of it? What made you just want to, disregard the Bible?
Well, I don't disregard it per se. You know what I mean? I just choose to look at it from an esoteric standpoint to where it makes sense 100%. So we won't get into the mediocre as far like did Jonah really go into a fish or a whale, or you know what I mean? Did Jesus really walk on water and all those types of things? Like the way I look at it, I can skirt all that. You know what I'm saying? I can go around all of those things and make it make sense to where it makes sense to everyone and not just particular.
Well, let's talk. So if you're not willing to accept Jonah going into a web, are you willing to accept human beings coming from an ape?
No, I don't accept human beings coming from ape at all.
You don't take in evolution?
No, because evolution is not even saying that humans come from apes.
Oh, but do you agree with evolution?
I agree that everything evolves, you know what I mean, as far as like become more intelligent and things like that, but as far as like evolve from like one species into another, no, because evolution is saying that humans are its own species, you know what I mean, just like apes are their own species. It's just saying that the genetic frequency or makeup is similar to humans, is what they're saying, not that we actually come from them. Because I come from the understanding that all things share the same DNA, but it's just arranged in different frequencies, in different arrangements, and that's what causes different species and everything else.
Well, I'm gonna say this. There's always, like for instance, yourself. I don't know if you have children, but yourself, you came from parents. You came from something. So there is a deity that had to create all of this. It did not just happen, out of nowhere. It just, spontaneously. They want to say that lightning just struck down on a bunch of rock. It rained and then lightning struck down on a bunch of rocks and it made a primordial ooze. And then people just started to, lifespans just started, cells and all these different things just started to, and the cell is the hardest thing to even understand.
Exactly. And they don't even understand it, so they can't even come with that analysis.
Exactly. So why would you turn down the Most High for something that sounds so, what happened? Thor?
I never said I turned down the Most High. I don't know how you interpreted that out of what I was saying. I know that I'm not saying I turned down the Most High. No, I understand that it's something that all of us. Okay, let me put it this way. So I want to be able to answer you straight, but not mislead you at the same time. You see what I'm saying, Natalie? So it's hard for me to just give you a straight answer the way you want me to just answer, because I know most people, when they say Most High, they may be, and I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying you, but most people will be like, okay, it's a man sitting in heavens on the clouds, and Jesus sitting on the right hand side of him, and all that type of stuff. I'm not that type of nor I would say, you know what I mean? Because I've come. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to get too far off. I see you only watched 4 minutes of my presentation, so I need you to come back. I'm going to go live again. Actually, I should be live again Thursday, and I'm going to actually have somebody on here to talk about evolution and stuff like that. But I will be going live again. I'm going to talk about Gorilla Hebrew. I'm going to mention what he has to say about the land of Ham, and we're going to talk about where Ham is, where Ham actually is, and why it's Ham, and why Africa is not Ham, and where it should be. Okay. So but if you have any other questions that pertain to this particular topic, we can. If not, then I'm going to move to Yavin. And it's like I said, if anybody in the chat that has a question or anything, a concern you don't agree with, you do agree with, whatever, I'm here. And I'll answer, as long as it's something that is not, rude or anything like that. I'll answer it. It's no big deal. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
So let me get back to my original question then, because I did ask you a question, and I don't know if you gave me an answer. Maybe you did, and I just didn't hear it. But I was asking though about when it was saying that David was smiting the Philistines and everything like that. Instead of looking at it as cold-blooded murder, do you think perhaps they could have been saying that he was slaughtering the doctrine of those men?
No, he actually smote. That was actual war that took place there. The Most High came in and he delivered those men into the hands of David, because those men were very evil and wicked, and they deserved to be destroyed. And they were in the land of the Rephaim, and we know that the Rephaim were very, very wicked and evil people as well. So, no, the smote is really what it says. He killed them. So, how does that make you feel that's what it meant? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it don't make me feel bad at all. I just like to get the true understanding of what's going on because, just to give another prime example to where I think looking at it all the way literal can most of the time keep you from learning the mysteries of God. It's like when they say that Solomon had 1,000 wives or whatever the case. I just don't believe in that. I believe that doctrine. He had 1,000 doctrines, which most women they had their own doctrine. Come to Diana's and all the other all the Ashtoreth and all the other women gods, goddesses or whatever that people were worshiping. I'm thinking that it was different goddesses he was worshiping, just to make it short. You know what I mean? Just like Nama, when you look at Tanama, it's supposed to be his main wife, where you kind of really find out she was an insect god. You see what I'm saying? That's what she was, a goddess. It was a deity, like you were saying, not an actual person. And I think that's why there's so many debates and people don't really get to a pure understanding of God being within you. You know what I mean? The kingdom being within, but that's just my take on it. But,
all right, so I see that you take more of a philosophical approach to things. I take everything literally. When it comes to scripture, I take it literally, and I take it if I can find it historically. You want to find it historically, you want to find it written, you also want to find it said. That way you can try to get to the truth of things. So when we look at the Bible,
I went down those paths, but for each his own. I definitely went down those paths and just understood that, how I see it when I looked into the research of it, that those places didn't come about until the book was actually written. So therefore, people were actually reading those scriptures and then creating those places as they go along to make the doctrine be self-fulfilling. But each his own. I'm not trying to take away from nobody and how they think about things at all.
Well, what I believe is what I can prove, right? That's all we can do is believe in what we can prove, and that's how that's my stance on things. It's believing in what I can prove. And we can't prove everything, but the thing is, if we work together and we look at things like with these the Hispanics, and I see you, the unknown one. I see what you said. You said, Neff, do you believe that Hispanics and natives are Japheth? No. Now, I don't know what you mean by Hispanics, because Hispanics is just a nationality. There are Black Hispanics, and then there's white Hispanic, European Hispanics, and then there's African or Black Hispanics. So when we get to, and then we have to talk about Japheth. We have to talk about Japheth because everybody says that Japheth was in the north, and that it was in what we would consider to be Turkey and Poland and all those different places. Well, the Hittites, which were Canaanites, they were in Turkey. That's their whole, they took over their whole land of Turkey is where the Hittites were. And Anatolia is where the Hittites were. So when you talk about Japheth, there's not very much information on Japheth in the Bible. There isn't. So you have to go outside the Bible. And that's why I speak on the Ethiopian Bible, because a lot of those books are actually found there. And when I talk about those books, I'll talk about the book of Jasher, talk about the book of Enoch, I'm going to talk about the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees really goes a little bit more thorough into what happened to the land and how the land was separated and how it was supposed to be given and delivered. So, and how it's supposed to have been divided. So no.
Are they all Canaanites, Nefertali?
What'd you say, honey?
Are they all Canaanites? Like most of all those groups, like even the Israelites, they all branched from Canaanites, aren't they?
You said, are they all Canaanites?
Yes.
And the Europeans?
No, all those people. You know how like the Japheth, all those people. You know what I mean? All them branched from Cain, huh?
You got to say it again. You said from all those people.
All the nations branched from Cain, basically.
Okay, so when we talk about the Canaanites, and I have a 4-part series where I thoroughly go into on the Canaanites. I hope you guys check that out. I talk about the Canaanites thoroughly. And when it comes to the Canaanites, they were a lot of these Europeans. When you look at the name, you didn't see my presentation, but I broke down how the Europe is actually named after a Canaanite woman.
That's right. Europa, right?
You need to go, Europa. So what you need to do is you need to go back and watch my presentation. And then when I go live again about Guerrilla Hebrew, then you can let me know. Or, if I get enough questions in my, comments, I'll definitely do another live to talk about this too. And we can talk about a lot of this. So, like I said, please go back and rewatch my presentation. I want to move on because I see some people have some comments in my chat. And I also got my brother Yavin up here. Shalom, Yavin, most high bless. What's going on with you?
Shalom, sis. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, my mic was messing up earlier. But yeah, amazing presentation. I love the way you linked the Mediterranean together with the Americas and everything, showing the migration and just proving that stuff with artifacts. That was amazing. So I just wanted to come and give my support.
Well, I truly appreciate that. I hope that was actually, people understood and was able to follow where I was going, because I was leading you guys somewhere, and I was hoping I was putting enough information so that you could follow me. Because the thing is that they say these people came over here, which they did. They came over here, but the way they came over here was they were shipwrecked. Okay, they were Phoenicians. They came over here. They were Canaanites, just like it said when I talked about it in the scripture. When I talked about it on the parable stone inscription, it talked about how these Canaanites were shipwrecked and they had to sacrifice someone to their deity. Well, when you look at how the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas, how they worship their gods, they all require a form of sacrifice. So it links up. And then when you talk about Babylon, and this is something I'm going to have to go into more in depth. I know that me just mentioning Babylon, that little quick bit of what I said about the Babylonians, I know I got to go more in depth into it. And the Babylonians were actually Canaanites. And then I don't know if you guys followed one of my videos where I talked about how the Amorites are the ones who actually had the children of Israel in captivity.
Yeah,
it was prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy, right? Okay. So when you guys really find out, you link all the pieces together historically and biblically, it all lines up. And I also go into science. I'm a geek. I love history. I love science. I love all of that. And I'm going to hopefully, this is my plan. I want to make more videos. I know I haven't been going live, but I want to also make videos of me going out to these places, me going to these Catholic churches and things like that. Because when you look at Inky and you look at Enlil, they have them all spread apart on their temples and on their churches. And also want to get into, looking at the Native Americans and all their ziggurats, as well as the mounds. You get into all that. It's all over the place, and I can't wait. So you said here, do I believe that Alexander the Great were Javan, a son of Japheth? I'd like to see a live on that. Alexander the Greek. That's a good one. No, I wouldn't say he's Japheth, but he was mixed. He was mixed race. Okay. They say that he's, I would have to do a live on that. I don't like to get up here and talk about stuff that I'm not I got to research more on. I don't want to say things that's not true, that I'm not 100% sure on. I have an idea, but I don't want to get up here saying stuff that's not true. People come up here and talk about me. All right, Chris, you say, I'm researching Japheth and I'm seeing that a lot of his descendants were genocided very early on. Okay. Well, if you do any presentations or anything, you can come up here and do something and talk to us about Japheth, because that's something that I'm really trying to look into more, is on Japheth. And if you have something to share, please. I wouldn't disagree with them being genocided very early. There isn't a lot of information on Japheth out there. So I'm trying to figure out, how do people even come up with this information that they do have? Gog and Magog, all of that just means, and this is the crushing part. All of this information comes from
the 12 tribes chart.
It comes from the 12. It comes from the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees is where people think that Ham is hot and Japheth is cold. All of that comes out of the Book of Jubilees. So people who get around here and talk about, oh, the Book of Jubilees, I don't believe in none of those books. Well, if you believe that Ham is hot, well, that's where it comes from. It doesn't come out of the, you can't find any of that in the Bible. This Ham, hot, Japheth code, and all this kind of stuff, you can't find it in the Bible, but you can find it in the Book of Jubilees, and that's where you'll find it. Yavin, did you have anything you want to say?
Yes, sis. You make a great point with that. And I also want to just say something for food for thought, right? Because they love to attach Esau to the first white man that was ever born, like you said, right? Which is hilarious because before even Abraham was born, we had Hittites up in Turkey for hundreds of years. You know, all nothing but white folks up in Turkey, in Anatolia, before even Abraham was born. And I find that utterly hilarious that these camps are so stiff-necked to always try to attach the first Caucasian to Esau in that way, to deceive the minds of people who just don't study to show themselves approved. You know, that's just something I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to comment on that. And also, I want to say this. I thought I would have had more naysayers coming up here. I dropped the link again. I promise you, I don't bite. Come on up here. Let's have a conversation. If you agree, if you disagree, or what you need some more information on, I appreciate it. Please hit the link. Let's go. Now, Yavin, with what you were saying, facts. This whole Esau thing, and I did a video on Esau, but I'm going to do another one. It's going to be called the angelic blood, the angelic seed of Esau, something like that. I'm building on it, right? But I'm going to talk about how Esau married Canaanites. He married Canaanite women. And I think one of them wasn't Canaanite, but two of them was in fact Canaanites. Now, the Canaanites are black, like they want to say. How did Esau remain black? I mean, remain white. And also, if Esau was the only white man that ever existed, who did he marry to be able to stay white? I mean, this whole thing, and that's why I like to say ignorance or evil. Because either they don't have no sense, or they're just evil. Because the thing is, it doesn't make any sense. When you really thoroughly look into the Bible, you see that Esau is supposed to be the first white man, but he married Canaanite women. That's one thing. Okay. Then the second thing is there's no other white people. If you don't believe Japheth was the first white man, then who did he have to marry to retain this whiteness? It's just all of this stuff is not true. It's just nonsense. Now let me look at this comment. Okay. Let me see if I miss anything. Just looking at the comments. He said, I say it enough because I don't believe the white man is Esau because they don't have our DNA, and Esau was ruddy or dark skinned and knew us versus the Greeks and Romans. Shalom. Great point. I don't believe the first white man was Esau either. But does that mean that he didn't become white? Now, the way that he probably did, his offspring probably did become white, was not the way that people think. It probably became white based off of him being with the Canaanite woman. We know that the Canaanites were the ones who mixed with the fallen, and that's how they were able to lose their color. Now, we look at Miriam. She was cursed with leprosy. So they lost their, she lost her, a lot of them were cursed with leprosy, and that's probably how white skin came about as well, was with leprosy.
Yeah, and so, not only that, the key point with that, sis, is that what did the Lord do? Put her out of the congregation. She wasn't even allowed to dwell amongst the congregation. She had to go into the wilderness amongst the wolves and everything else for 7 days. But they just overlook stuff like that.
Facts, exactly. That's it. That's true. Yavin, you brought out a great point. Now, Bullish Prince of Wales, he says, yes, Naphtali, the pyramids were reportedly used in some of the sacrifices to these deities. And it's connected via linguistics. Pyramid has the root IYR, which is defined as the watcher angel. Thanks for sharing that. Yes. When everybody thinks of the pyramids, everybody's mind immediately rushes to Africa. and it immediately rushes to Egypt. And remember, Egypt, Nigeria, Sudan, all those different places have pyramids. So people will go say, oh, well, the pyramids means ham, 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 ham. Well, nobody ever talks about that there's over 2,000 pyramids located here in the South and North America. No one talks about these ziggurats. No one speaks on them. And the fact that these people have created and built these and then sacrifice humans to worship their gods. All this was, and you go back to Babylon, that's where it originated. They built ziggurats there. And they were actually known. People always talk about the Babylonians. Oh, Babylon this, Babylon that, Babylon is the worst this, Babylon is the worst that. Well, then why are these people here utilizing the same tactics as what the Babylonians did? Maybe it's the fact that there actually are the Babylonians. That would make more sense that this land is Babylon. That would prove more of the Bible with them being the Babylonians. But people say, well, they're in captive. They're not in power. You know, they're not ruling. But that's not the point. The point is that they're being quieted, being offsetted and out, you know, telling them, hey, go sit down somewhere and be quiet, because they don't want people to wake up and to realize who they really are. So that's a good point. He said, thank you for this live new sub. Oh, you don't know how much that I appreciate that. Thank you. Check out my channel. I have a lot more information that I do. I break down more than what I did here. And I just want to leave this disclaimer. I don't have a problem with anybody. Okay, all I'm doing is researching the information and trying to make sure we get the proof. Does that mean that everybody is condemned to hell? That is not my job. I do not take the path of the Most High. He's the one that said. I had somebody ask me a question last night. They said, do you believe that Canaanites can be saved? I don't go into the saving part. You know, all I do is just present information. The Most High is in charge for who needs to be saved. However, based off of what I see, no, they shouldn't be saved. But this is also something. Remember, this is a kingdom. And in the kingdom, there are levels within the kingdom. There's a servant class, and then there's a high ruling class. So in order for us to have that servant class, we need the servants to go back to where they're supposed to go. Remember, the first are supposed to be last, and the last are supposed to be first. So if the Canaanites were indeed the bottom, the last, then guess what? They are now the first, because we went into captivity. But we're going to get that back once the Most High restore everything, because now the last is now first. And the first is now last, if that makes sense to you guys. So, all right. You said Esau makes his seeds with all nations. You said the Horite Neanderthals come from the other side of the flood. Yeah, you know, if you watched the last video Yavin did, he actually talked about the Neanderthals. And you want to talk to him about the Neanderthals, Yavin?
Khan, yeah. The Canaanites are the Neanderthals in antiquity. In my video, I break down the theory of evolution, which is proved to actually be true. I didn't believe it at first until the information brought out that directly ties with the Bible. I go into the migration and stuff like that. And Sis Natalie did a great presentation on Killer Priest Live that brought some knowledge that I didn't even know about how that started off in antiquity as well. Before they came out of those Caucasus Mountains, because the Hittites came out of the Caucasus Mountains along with other Canaanite tribes. So on Sis Natalie's page, I did a breakdown on that a couple months ago, so you can check it out.
Facts. And he did a really great presentation on the Neanderthals and how they link to the Canaanites and how they link to the Caucasian. He said no salvation for the Canaanites. Okay, we can take that. He said, we have to remember that Esau, as Naphtali said, notoriously mixed with the Horites, Canaanites, who in English would be a hoary race of people. Grayish white. Yes, I did a video on the Hittites. And the good thing about the Hittites is that, I mean, the interesting thing about the Hittites is that their language, the language that we speak right now, currently, as I'm speaking today, is the language that we got from the Hittites. The Hittite word for water is the English word for water. The European language descends from the Hittites. Now, remember, I mentioned in my presentation how a lot of the Phoenicians came up with the Greek the Greek language. And Yavin, you did in your presentation, you were talking about the Minoans and how they I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this. Yeah, so remember you did your presentation and you were speaking on the Minoans and how they were following along these deities and how they mixed themselves and became what we would consider to be the Caucasians today with the Minoans.
Con. Mm-hmm. And there is a migration pattern after the Mycenaeans, which are the original Greeks. After they took over the Minoan civilization, some of them scattered out throughout Europe as well. After that happened, but the Minoan language is completely separate from the Proto-Indo-European language. It is not the same at all. When they do the linguistic reconstruction of the Proto-Indo-European, it all goes back to antiquity of the Canaanites, and I believe the Iranians. They have they're part of that stock as well. So
exactly. So we got in Isaiah 19:18. I'm sorry about that. That's what I was trying to get this scripture for you guys. So it says here in Isaiah 19:18 through 25, it said, in that day, 5 cities in Egypt would speak the language of Canaan and swear allegiance to the Lord Almighty. So right here, we all are speaking the language of Canaan, and that was prophesied in the Bible. And guess what? Like I said, the Hittite word for water is the English word for water. So the Indo-European language family actually descends from the Hittites. So all of this actually is descended from Canaanites. And this was prophesied in the Bible. Let's see, do we have any more comments? Okay, so we got 72 people watching. I hope you guys like and share this video, and if you have not, please subscribe. It was a great presentation. Thank you so much, Drea. I truly appreciate that. When it comes to the presentation, let me give you a little feedback as to why I even came to this. A long time ago, if you watch the beginning of my presentation, I actually show Zabak and all them out there teaching, and I used to hear so much negativity that they had for the Africans. Like, I always used to hear it. I believed at that time that Native Americans, Hispanics were actual Israelites, because this was me walking into the truth. I didn't have a problem, but then I started to get a problem. Like, why do they talk to the African people like this? Why are they so disrespectful? And you know what? I'm gonna play that for you, show you how disrespectful they are to the. Let me see. Here we go. Take a look at this, how they treat the Africans.
You see that? What happened in 70 AD? When did the Jews get kicked out of Israel?
I don't know.
You don't know, but you're calling yourself a Jew?
You are not a Jew either.
You're calling yourself a Jew. What does the word Jew mean?
A Jew. Those are the chosen ones.
What does the word Jew mean? You're not a Jew. You're a joke.
Right.
You're a joke. You know what? You're Jewish. You're Hebrew Israelites. The white people came and shot you stinking Africans up with AIDS, and you still love the white man. Read!
I'm from a kingdom, man. I'm from a kingdom.
What kingdom you from? Zimbabwe? You from Zimbabwe?
My kingdom is
You're from Zimbabwe. That's where you're from. You're a Hamite. Go ahead.
He's from Zimbabwe. 30 verse 30.
Let's see what color the Israelites are. Go ahead.
My skin is black.
His skin is what?
My skin is black upon me.
Read it again.
My skin is black upon me.
See that? You aren't a Jew, you're a joke.
That's right.
Right? You're
Are you circumcised?
You're a Canaanite.
Are you circumcised?
That's what you are. You're a Canaanite.
Excuse me, are you Book of Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. I am black, but comely.
I am what?
I am black, but comely.
Read.
O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
And this is an Israelite woman. So we showed you an Israelite man, Job is black. Then we showed you an Israelite woman being black. Various shades of brown, because really nobody's black. I mean, you're close to it. You Hamites.
I'm dark, man. Call me
to it.
anything you want to call me.
You Hamites are close to it.
Sis, let me say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he went to the Song of Solomon, right? Based on his understanding of Abishag the Shulamite, what tribe is she from again? Issachar. Abishag the Shulamite, Issachar, saying she's black from working out in the vineyard.
I'm not sure. I would have to take a look at that.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking a rhetorical question, but that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. You was okay. I got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's funny how they'll pull out certain scriptures when it's convenient. I remember Deacon was debating a Christian one time, right? And the Christian asked Deacon, well, what about the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt? Shouldn't we be a part of that? And Deacon got upset. He said, no, they were all black. I was like, wow, Deacon. So in your other videos, you say the mixed multitude came out and was different shades of color. But when you're debating a Christian who can cut you with your own doctrine, you change it up. You see what I'm saying? Just like he used Song of Solomon, Abishag the Shulamite, she's from Issachar, saying she's black. It's comical, to me.
It is comical, and it's, the one thing that I do notice is that the only people they want to debate is Christians, because they understand that Christians, a lot of them don't really know anything. So they feel very, what is the word I'm looking for? They feel very comfortable and confident when they speak with these people, when they speak to the Christians. And like you said, they really don't know too much about what they're teaching. I actually hit the link. I went over there to Deacon's channel, and I tried to hit the link to come onto his channel so we can have a conversation. And guess what? Of course, he never, dropped the link. And he knew exactly who I was. I wasn't surprised, but I was like, okay, so you're familiar with me. Why don't you go ahead and drop the link? Let's go ahead and have a dialogue. And, of course, he overlooked me. But then you have time to go into, you talking about somebody who barely even has 1,000 subscribers. And no one knows who they are, but you got time to talk about them. You actually bring their video up and point it out, word by word, and decipher it and discern it. But when it comes to somebody who's just trying to have a conversation with you, like myself, oh no, you don't have time, or I'm too small time and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. And also, let me show you guys this too. Because when you have a problem, now you see how he treated the Africans, but let's see what Bishop Nathaniel has to say.
Now you got a lot of the wide-nosed, big-lipped Negroes who are upset about the Mexicans.
Now, wide nose, big lip Negroes, you're upset. You're upset with the Mexicans. Wow. You had to make this whole big old talk about us, brought us down, and uplifted them, made our appearance ugly. Our wide noses and our big lips is something to chastise us with, because we're upset about the Mexicans. I had played a video earlier where I talked about.
I bet the Mexican told him, "You lazy. You don't work. You don't go to work. You lazy." I bet the message in this congregation told him that. Oh. You lazy.
Exactly. You lazy. I showed a video earlier as well where I showcased how this Mexican said that his dad hates black people. He hates black people. He don't even like you. Why would you say we're anything when we don't even like you? So they just said that's vexing is what they like to call it. It's vexing. And that's not what it is. But that's what I was saying, is that when you guys saw that video, that's what made me start looking into the African people, look into these Hispanic people, and also look into us, because I don't want to say we're something that we're not. I believe in Christ. It doesn't matter what I am. I'm going to believe in the Most High. But the thing is that if I want to believe that we truly are the children of Israel, and I'm going to look into all of them. And what I noticed is that the people in Africa have more Shemitic ways or Israelite ways than these so-called Hispanics. And then I watched Guerrilla Hebrew debate, I think it was Garfield, and I had to specifically watch that. I watched them, I said I watched him debate Garfield. And this was at the time where I was cool with Garfield, and I actually helped him in this debate. Now, the thing is that I wanted to see how Guerrilla Hebrew was going to prove that we so-called Black African Americans are Israelites. And guess where he went? He went right into Africa. He went right into Africa to prove it. It's like, no. You can't have it both ways. Africa can't be Ham and also be the land of where the children of Israel descend from. You can't do that. They want to put put the continent down, but until they need it, that's when they uplift it. But as we see, he said, you're from a kingdom. He said, I'm from a kingdom. He said, you're not from he said, where's Zamunda? And Zamunda actually was a kingdom. I don't know if you knew that, but it really was a kingdom. It was a very prominent kingdom.
Yeah, they flip-flop their doctrines depending on if they're debating white evangelical Christians like vocab, or they coming over here to debate those who know the truth over here at ADUIC or FOPE. They got to flip it. You see what I'm saying? But your 12 tribes chart got the whole Western Hemisphere is where all the 12 tribes are. How stupid is that when the scriptures say Israel scattered to the four corners?
Facts. And they want, we were listening to the clip. We heard somebody said Zamunda. And I feel like that was probably a Hispanic that got out there. That these Hispanic people are probably in the background, chanting and agreeing with him and egging him on, trying to tell our people that they're not who they say they are. This man probably has some information and knowledge that could have helped us to bring out more proof that we are indeed the children of Israel. Instead, they want to condemn them and say they're Hamites based off of what? Because they live in Africa. That's all it is. That's all you need is to say you from Africa, or they got a plate in their lip, or they got something in their ears, tribal makeup. They live, anything it is, the smallest of things. Their skin is crispy black. Remember, he says you got crispy black skin, where, like I said at the beginning, the person who got the most crispy is a black skin is Christ. It says that his feet were as if it was brass burnt in a furnace. You don't get any crispier or blacker than that. So they don't even like Christ. They don't even like him. They put down his skin color with this whole, do they know that's what they're doing? Do they know?
They are enemies of the black man, woman, and child. They are adversaries of the black man, woman, and child. And first and foremost, the Most High. They are adversaries. Because how your doctrine change depending on who you talking to. That shows how weak you are. How you just flip-flop your doctrine. Oh, if I'm talking to a white person, I got to change it up. Or I'm talking to somebody who know I'm telling these lies, I got to change it up.
Facts. You got that right, Yavin. It's all about how they, that's what I did. That's why I helped Garfield out when I was cool with him. I was like, go ahead, and because I wanted him to bring that out, because I really wanted to hear what he had to say. I really wanted to see how he was going to prove it, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He went right into Africa and utilized the African people to prove that he was an Israelite. Well, you can't do that. You can't have it both ways. You can't use Africa to say that condemn the people, and you can't use Africa to uplift us. You have to give them some form of, what is the word I'm looking for? Praise and, acceptance that they possibly could be Israelites. I can't say everybody there is, but I can say that the overwhelming majority of them are either Shemitic or child of Israel. Okay, so I dropped the link. I got 70 people in here. I hope you guys like the video, subscribe, and share. But I also want you guys to click the link. Please click the link. Come on up. If you have something that you don't agree with, something that you feel like I didn't explain correctly, just come on up. Let's just, like right now, I'm just dialoguing, I'm just having a conversation. That's all it is. That's all that this is. Okay, so what you say here? You say the San or hunter-gatherer of Cush, the Khoi from nomadic herders of Shem, after the Tower of Babel, Bantu, Igbo, etc., is from Israel dispersion, not the Canaanites. Wow, thoroughly investigated. Why don't you go tell that to Ron Dalton? That's who I need. Now, that's my biggest person I want to have this conversation with. I actually went to his presentation. I paid my own money to go to his presentation. I sat there. I wasn't rude. I didn't, banter. I didn't harass him. I just sat there. I was quiet. I thoroughly listened to his presentation. And then when it was time for questions and answer, I asked my question and it was ignored. So
he did thorough research too. Only to say that the Canaanites are some pygmies in South Africa.
Some pygmies. And that's how you know he doesn't know who the Canaanites are, because if you really thoroughly investigate who the Canaanites are, you will know that the Canaanites are very powerful people that built all of our civilizations. They built that's why we don't build anything. You wonder why black folks don't build nothing? Why we sit around here and we look around and we be like, why did we ever have anything? Because we're not builders. We're the ones that sit there and people build for us. That's what it is. The Canaanites were the ones that created linen. They were the ones that created the wine. What you drink with wine, that was Phoenician. The purple color, the purple dye came from the Phoenicians. The cloth, the material, all that came from them, and they gave it to us. So it was, thanks a lot. But Shalom and Most High bless. What brings you on today?
Shalom. Great presentation, sis. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
All right, I'm in a tractor trailer, so it's going to be kind of loud.
No, you're fine.
I listened to your whole show, and
good.
I can agree to disagree, but this is your platform. We'll talk about that another time concerning the Native American Indians.
I want to disagree.
Well, you already know.
No,
I feel that not all of them are from the Canaanite bloodline. I believe that they actually descend from the Moabite. But that's not what I wanted to discuss. Is it okay if I talk about what you guys are talking about, these camps right now?
Oh, of course, please. You can come on and discuss.
I can't wait. I'm talking about right now. Do I have a minute?
Yes, you do. You got more than a minute. Go ahead.
Well, I'm waiting on this internal civil war to take place within these camps. Because as soon as these people realize that they're not Israel, they're going to turn on those so-called Negroes. You know what I'm saying?
Say that again.
I hear you playing in the background. How do I turn you off on my I have to go back to YouTube to turn it off?
Yeah, just click out of the video that you were watching. Right, just click off the YouTube video. Click out of it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do I sound better?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you. So I'm just saying it's going to be a war. I don't know how soon it's going to take place, but it needs to happen and they need to go take a simple biology course. These scholars in these camps, these biblical scholars claim that these Native Americans are Israel when Jacob and his 4 wives were all black. Now, I don't know about you, but I know my mom's side of the family. I'm from Arkansas, right? She has 10 brothers and sisters. A black father and a black mother. Not one of them kids came out looking like a Hispanic. Not one. All woolly hair. Negroes with woolly hair. How can a black man and a black woman produce a Native American looking baby and a Hispanic looking baby and a Negro on top of that? Come on now. They need to go take the simple course, biology.
Well, that's
101.
Disagree with you with that. That is a fact. But like I said, I'm not going to jump on you because you don't want me to attack. But
no.
I want to know about this Moabite stuff. I don't get that.
Oh well, no, anyway, I understand. But I can make. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say that's my whole purpose with this whole Negro only thing. The Negro only thing is to be with. They don't like the Negro only doctrine because it only means that you can only be with a Negro woman. Because we're the only ones
Exactly.
that create black. We're the ones that create that crispy black skin and the nappy hair. So how do they get out of that? It's by being.
Unless you come out looking like Canaan or albino,
You say
first
Canaan.
white man.
You say Canaan was
I don't know.
albino.
I don't know if he was an albino with yellow hair, but he had to be the first white man as far as I'm concerned.
So
I don't think it was Esau.
Who did he marry then? To get this white skin.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a lot of, people have to put the pieces of the puzzles together. And sometimes when you want to put these pieces of the puzzle together, you're not going to like a lot of what you see because you start to go into, I guess what they would say is like a fairy tale or something like that, dealing with giants, dealing with angels, dealing with all this
exactly.
stuff.
They don't believe in the fallen angels or the giants. What do they believe in?
Well, they believe that, I really wish that I could have a conversation with Gorilla Hebrew because when he starts to get into Quetzalcoatl or Kukulcan, he says that they're Christ, and so I really want to know.
Yeah, I've heard him say that. Actually, I've seen videos of him saying that.
Yeah, he talks about the seraphim, right? So he's speaking on
a couple videos. He's done it on more than just one occasion, and I'm like, and Deacon also.
Yeah, that's their doctrine, and they say that. And the thing is that that's when you start to get into these deities. They sit around and talk about, oh, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. Well, you believe that this Kukulcan or this Quetzalcoatl, you believe that they had some form of, what you would say, holy.
Because they say that he's the serpent, and the tribe of Dan worship the serpent, and the serpent represents Christ, and they get into that part.
Yeah, they say they have this divine, their divine presence and stuff like that. So, anyway, so I just want to make sure I answered your question. Did you have anything else that you want to bring out?
No, not at the moment.
No, that's
for having me on.
No, you can just stay on. We can just chat. I don't mind. Like I said, anybody want to come on? Like I said, if you want to add, or if you got a question, or if you got a concern or something you don't like, this is your time. You say they like to say, since we've been scattered to four corners, we mix. That's where you get Mexican Hispanics. Yeah, they're trying, but that's how you do it. Either you mix in or you mix out. And a lot of them, what they're doing is they're mixing out. They're mixing out. And that's all designed by the Most High. That's done by the Most High because he wants their seed to be spoiled. Because other than that, because you're lying. You're telling lies to people. You're getting up here, you're telling lies. I sat up here and I presented to you guys information to showcase how these people built temples for these thousands of temples, thousands of ziggurats, hundreds of glyphs, all these, they're doing parades currently to this day. They're dressing in these garments, and with the eagle and all this kind of stuff. And they talk about with the eagle flyers. Well, who's the one that has all the eagles? It's them. They dress up as an eagle all the time. They dress up as Ma'at. They do all these things. And the only thing people can say is they lost their way. Or, they talk about the white man, but the white man does not worship that way. The white man is not building ziggurats.
The white man is doing the Christianity thing with the cross.
Yes. Now, when you see them carrying the cross, when you see them going through Catholicism and Mary and all this, that's what the white man brought. But the white man did not bring that. Who brought the ziggurats? Who taught them that?
Go watch that movie Apocalypto. It'll tell you everything.
You know what? I was trying to watch that, but I just hate the fact that I got to read all of that. I want to just be able to just watch it, so they have it all translated into their language, which is fine, but I wish they just had an English version. But yeah, when you watch that Apocalypto, you see how they interacted with each other. You see how they worshiped. You see what they did, and that's what they actually did. And why is any of that have to do with Israelites? I don't know. I understand that the 10 tribes fell off. They stopped worshiping the Most High. They started to follow the ways of the Assyrians and the Babylonians and all of that. I get that. Well, they were supposed to come all the way over here to a new land and establish themselves as a new people and follow the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. Well, to their argument, they're going to say, well, they started off that way, but then they, the white man came, and then they left off and they lost their path. Well, that's not true, because the white man did not build those ziggurats, and he did not sacrifice human beings and cannibalized children and humans. When you get the name cannibal is Canaan with Baal. Okay, Baal required the blood of people, of human sacrifice. That's what he requires for you to worship him. That's what the Canaanites did. They're the ones who worship Baal. And they're the ones that we saw Baal on their glyphs and their ziggurats. We see them there. So it's really it shouldn't be up to any form of argument. We see the Phoenicians were travel there. We have the parable inscription. We see them talk about how they shipwrecked. They came up. They went right into the middle part between North America and South America. And that's where we see where Peru, we see where the Incas and the Mayans, we see all of that. It's all there. So that's why I want somebody to come up here and tell me why it's not. That's what I want somebody to do. I really do. I made this video specifically because I wanted somebody to come up here and tell me why I'm wrong. I don't want to sit around here and teach people stuff and I'm wrong. But then again, it's like, why do you guys want to sit around here and believe something that is wrong when you know it's not, because you don't want to come up here?
And always claiming they want to smoke, but they don't never pull up. We got to pull up over them, and then they get their little magical mute boot button and mute, you know what I'm saying? But they want to smoke.
I know. Block, kicked you out, ignore. I'm a woman. They don't have any. Well, if I was an Ephraimite, the most beautiful people, beautiful. Let me show you that video. I gotta show it to you guys. I gotta play a video. Because I can talk about it, but that doesn't mean you'll hear it. Yavin, go ahead and speak while I get the video. Or Yashra, whoever wants to speak, go ahead.
Yeah, Con, if you brothers want to say anything, I'll fall back. Okay. Well, yeah, like I was saying earlier, the funny thing about Sakari is that they claim they want to smoke, but that's for you to pull up so they can control the narrative. They really only want smoke with evangelical Christians, because them are the only people that they can confound without a doubt. But they are no different from the evangelical Christians, because they promote doctrines that are against the word of Yah as well. Everybody has an agenda. It's easier for them to debate the white man. But, when it comes to the raw truth of the Bible with identity and who people are and prophecy, they can't deal with that when dealing with who the word was given to, which is Israel, the black man, woman, and child. The word was not given to Guerrilla Hebrew or any of those other nations in Sakari. All they're doing is twisting the line on scripture. So...
Good point. So I'm uploading the video where I showcase how they address this Hispanic woman as if she came off of a chariot. Why, out of everywhere, why would she come? What do you mean coming off a chariot? Does that mean she came down from heaven? Like, what does that mean? She just came off a chariot, and it's like, and I had a video, I don't know where it went, where I had this guy, and maybe I can find it. He was talking about how, until he came into the truth, he wasn't worrying about no black women. He he thought black women was the stuff until he came into the truth. And that's when he realized that black women were disgusting and all this and all that. And it's like, well, how does coming into the truth make you dislike your women and think that we're disgusting and then hold over another group of people's women as if they are better? And that's the
Because they
shame.
hate their own mothers.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe they hate their mothers, but one of them got a mother that's not black. So,
Oh, exactly. And if you're, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so what is that? I mean, how's that still, talking
You go
about black?
you go calling white women female dog. You know the name they call white women, the female dog, and you put your own mother as a white woman. You're supposed to honor and respect your parents. Honor thy father and thy mother, right? So how can you go sit up here cussing out white women? Go cuss your own mom. Has he ever cussed his own mom out and called her a dog to her face?
Exactly. I'm sure he did not, and I know that he will never, because he doesn't come to me as a person that would do that. But I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's just okay. I got the video right here. Let me see. Let me make sure this is the right one.
Shalom. 10 tribes.
All right. See, I got 10 fringes on.
10 tribes is coming back.
My husband's out in Brooklyn right now.
All right.
My husband's out in Brooklyn doing the same thing.
Oh, okay. What camp y'all from?
We don't have. I don't know.
Saving my ears. Your husband teaches
Ephraim in the building.
Yeah.
Ephraim, yeah.
He's out teaching now?
I think so.
Okay, so we're not the only ones in the cold.
No.
All right.
All right, quote me a shot. Everybody got their fringes on.
Shalom.
Ephraim in the building. Whole family.
She got fringes on her shoes.
You get an honorary dap. We usually don't dap sisters, but you get an honorary one. All right, shalom.
All right, shalom. Ephraim just appeared out of from a chariot somewhere, man.
That's a damn chariot.
Yeah, drop Ephraim just popped up out of nowhere.
Yo, Ephraim just came off a chariot, right? Somebody said one of them look white.
Did you guys hear that? Ephraim came off a chariot. You see how excited they are? These people, all they did was just walk up. All they did was walk up and say hello, and all of a sudden they just, they came off a chariot. That's all they have to do.
I can't tell the difference between her and a regular Caucasian woman.
Somebody said they look white. Like, I literally left a message in Zadok's. I left him a message in Instagram. I left a message. I was saying, hey, I would like to have a conversation with you. It wasn't even about me debating. It was just about dialoguing about, being an Israelite and, all this and all that. The man just completely ignored me. But Ephraim, I guess if I was Ephraim or Hispanic woman, I would have came off a chariot, and he probably had no choice but to respond to me. I mean, guys, you can't make this stuff up, y'all. Like, that's why I got the videos, because I can tell you, but it's better to see it yourself, how they approach these people.
Elijah went up into a chariot because his spirit was just on point. But he gonna say this woman who they're giving our identity to came off the chariot. That's crazy.
Off the chariot. You see that? He said she came off a chariot. Like, oh my gosh, this woman is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Quana, shalom, most high bless, Elder Quana. What's bringing you up here tonight?
Shalom, Elder Quana.
Shalom.
I think you cut out.
Well, Quana, your internet over there messing up now. We're gonna let Quana get his stuff together. But yeah, and this is what if you guys saw I don't know if you caught my presentation earlier, but what I had said was that this whole Negro only thing was because they don't want to be with Negro women. When they do the 12 tribes chart, it allows them to expand their horizons to the Hispanic, Native American, Latino women. Also, they're getting these men's money by telling them, they lying to them, telling them they're Israelites. They lying to them, getting their money, right? But the women, they're getting them because they want to be with their women, and they want their money. So that's why they put this whole 12 tribes chart together. Okay?
They're getting that Indian casino money.
Exactly. They cannot. And yes, they get their Indian casino money. And
on the reservation, they get checks every month, $5,000 a month.
What? Wow.
Up here in Washington, where I'm at, they get like $5,000, $8,000 a month just for being part of the casino.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, it's all kind of stuff they got going on. They get in the bag for sure. Ron Dalton, the camps, they getting that Cash App, that Zelle, they getting that PayPal. What I mean, they getting it all.
They getting reparations. See, they're getting reparations. They don't want to. They don't
So
want to.
are.
They don't want to admit to the fact that they are getting reparations. Meanwhile, have we received any reparations? No, we haven't received a dime. And then for them to be our brother and sisters, don't you think they supposed to, help out their brother and sister? You know what I'm saying? Maybe try to get us to help us to get our reparations. But what they do, what were they called? This the black the freemen. Yeah, the freemen. Remember they kicked them out. They said, "Oh no, you're not getting any of this." But I guess that's vexing, huh? That's vexing. It's Ephraim
Right.
vexing Judah. Is that what that
Yeah,
what
that's
that's
what they
supposed?
say. That's the northern kingdom. That's Judah vexing Ephraim, and Ephraim being envious of Judah.
Mm, okay, yeah. The fact that we're struggling and suffering, they have millions of dollars, and they tell us no. That's just them simply just vexing us. And it like I said, it doesn't matter what these people do or what they say. And I want to play this video clip for you guys. And I'm going to get to my point after I play it. 1 second.
So Shabazz was not permitted to stay in that area, so he took his family into the jungle of East Asia, which we now call Africa, to make a people close to nature. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, this is the origin of kinky hair, because we didn't have kinky hair prior to that. The hair on our head was like the hair on our eyebrows. The hair on your eyebrows straight, the hair on your head is not the same as the hair on your eyebrow. But the hair of every other people is the same as their eyebrow. Your eyebrow straight, your hair something different. Wouldn't you like the hair on your head to be as straight as the hair on your eyebrow? That's why you so busy frying it. That's why you so busy pulling it. Because your nature tells you that the kink I mean, with I'm black and I'm proud, we got to learn to be proud of kinks. Because most of your family of other black people on the earth, jet black. They didn't have no broad nose and thick lips and kinky hair. They were dark-skinned people, jet black. But they had straight hair, a thinner lip, a thinner nose. But we are marked as a different kind of black person. And we were rejected and despised, not only from the circle of the gods, but we were despised and rejected by all the other dark people of the earth. This is why today black people with kinky hair and broad nose and thick lips are rejected in every society. I want you to hear me well tonight. Yes, sir. Why are we rejected? Because the essence of beauty is in obedience and submission to God. And the essence of ugliness is when you rebel against God. And when you rebel against God, in your rebellion, you are marked with a certain mark of your rebellion, which is the disfigurement of your internal self, which manifests in the disfigurement of your external self. And this is why when you look at our people, wherever we are found on the earth, you find us either disfiguring ourselves physically because we are disfigured on the inside because of rebellion.
All right. Did you guys hear that? Now, the fact that our people sit there and listen to that, this man downed them. And he just sat there and he just listened to him say that our hair that we have on our head is pretty much a curse. And that we're supposed to have our hair is supposed to match our eyebrows. Our whole phenotype is pretty much destruction, and it's caused because we were destructive. We were doing wrong, so that's why our hair is so nappy, our skin is so black. Whatever you want to say, all these cults, this so-called religion, these are cults. And when you get into these cults, these people just sit there and hear all this negative stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just.
Now you got a lot of the wide-nosed, big-lipped Negroes.
I mean, right there. Your nose is wide, your lips are big, your hair is nappy. And they say all these things. And then when you look at him, his father is white. And then you look at the other guy, his mother is white. So these people don't even have full black parents. And they get up here standing before us and talking about us as if they are us, and they're not. And we're receiving it. We're sitting back and we're receiving it. Now, the real reason why, not only was that my reasoning, and I'm going to let you guys go because I'm approaching 3 hours. I didn't even realize that. But the real reason I mentioned that is because a lot of people say that the reason why we are Israelites is because Canaanites mixed in with the Israelites, which then produced us. And that's what a lot of people teach. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? People teach us that we are the Canaanites and we became Israelites because we interbreeded or mated or had relations, whatever you want to say it, with with Israelites, and that's how we became the Canaanites. Became the Israelites. And we always have to be at the bottom. We always have to be the Canaanites. We always have to be the ones at the bottom. But then when you bring information, you bring truth, and you bring information to bring you out of that, they still don't want to come out of it. And I don't know what that is, but they want to follow these people that are out here teaching us that we are the scum of the earth, and we're at the bottom. And the reason why we're at the bottom is because we are the Canaanites, but we're not. Does anybody have anything they want to ask, comment, or say? Any last words? Because I'm gonna go ahead and I'll look through this chat.
Yeah. So Farrakhan must have didn't read the part in Daniel about the Most High having hair like the pure wool. You skipped that part.
Thank you, Timothy. I love my black lips, my nappy hair. I love it. I love it too, right? I love mine. Okay. You seeing me right now. I have no makeup on. I have my natural hair out. This is me. And this is who I am. And I'm very proud of what I look like. I don't need to look like these people. I don't need to have hair that matches my eyebrows. None of that. Okay. My skin, when I go outside, it doesn't burn. Okay. I'm made to go out in the sun. And I don't collect bugs in my hair. I'm going to just whisper that. So, like I.
Oh, facts. I think you muted yourself.
Oh, thank you. Let me see. Elder Quinai, were you still out there? I didn't want to just leave when you had something to say, but if not, I'm gonna go on and go. Let's see. Okay, I saw that. You said rise of the Milano, those types trying to make this a reality to keep unambiguous blacks on the bottom. People don't know that those are the biggest gatekeepers. Those are our actual biggest problems.
Yeah.
He said, I love my West African ancestry. Israel was all throughout West Africa. Yeah, and East Africa. We were Israel and Shem. Don't forget about Shem. Shem is also there. We got to think about Shem. Everybody say that Shem are these these Asians and stuff like that. Well,
these Arabs.
Yeah, but when you look at the Sidonian Canaanites, they go to the Chinese, the Asian people, the Sinites. They were the Sinites. They actually have father sign. They actually have their father, their pastors and whatever. They were called Sinites. Okay, so it looks like when Thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. What else we got here? Yes, lice isn't confused. Exhibit knows what hair is welcome in. Hey, I didn't want to say it all like that, but you know what it is. We don't have it.
And y'all know I had to cam up because you already know Yavin love his bell pepper nose. So I'm proud of my features as well, as y'all can see.
Exactly. Hey, you said bugs can't live in our hair. Yeah, I don't want to get flagged. You think I'm gonna get flagged? Okay. Hey, love you too, Quinai. Okay, I see Quinai probably can't hit the link. All right, I'm gonna look at this last one. If you hate your features, that's like spitting in Yah's face. He will let your seed be spoiled and then be erased. Exactly. He gets up dirty talks about crispy black Africans. Crispy black Africans. Well, last time I checked, who was the crispiest of black Africans was Christ. Hair was white like wool. His hair was like lamb's wool. You don't get any thicker than that. And also, his feet were unto as brass as it was burned in the furnace. You don't get more crispier than that, right? What'd you say here? You said great job the other day, Yavin. Okay, he sure did do a great job. And Wheezy,
thank you. I appreciate it.
If anybody wants to send me a super chat or a cash app, my cash app is at the bottom. Thank you so much, Hazel. I truly appreciate you. You said the ships of Tarshish did sing of thee in the market, and thou was replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. The Phoenician Japhet connection. I'm gonna have to look into that. All right. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has anything else to say. I'm going to thank everybody for watching, coming out with me tonight. If you haven't watched the whole video, please start from the beginning and work your way to the end because I was building up. I started from here and then I was, ending up with a bang, a boom. So it's a grand finale. It won't make any sense if you don't start from the beginning and work your way down. If a lot of you guys are like, well, I don't know what's going on. I don't get it. Well, you got to watch it from the beginning. All right. What you say here? Thank you for this. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad that you guys really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a part 2. I'm going to somebody reached out to me. They said, when are you going to talk about Ham? Where is the land of Ham and who is Ham and all this stuff about Ham? I'm always talking about Canaan. I need to talk about Ham as a whole. So this next video, I will be talking about Ham. Well, let me stop up here talking. Let's get ready to go. All right. Again, I thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, and shalom. Most High bless.